for 10 months. So
Yeah, I saw the
like
early documents of what things looked like way before too, where it was just like
The
you were
Stone
literally just buying
Age.
an idea.
in the Bronze Age, you literally were buying an idea. And so I think when people start, when it's like, oh, this isn't fair, like, oh, what these district owners, what these big land whales are doing, it's not fair. But at the same time, they are the ones that took the biggest risk because they bought into an idea.
Well, I think
And
there's a difference between not fair and like not fair and incompetent.
Yeah,
Like
and I'm
when
not saying it's not fair. I'm just
when
thinking it's
James
just different than what I had in my mind when you talk about a world that is owned by its users and decentralization,
well
and then you're like, oh, well, it's only a few people. That just kind of it just kind of changes the perspective that I
Well, there's
have.
also technical
yeah, totally.
limitations because, like James, for example, he's the leader of the of the Vegas district. Like, he's really excited for when they implement the ability for like one wallet to delegate to multiple smaller wallets because, like, he wants to give the VP of Vegas district to the contributors because, like, he doesn't vote with it because he agrees with you. Like, he thinks that would be problematic. It would be centralized and it wouldn't be like a fair way to have it. But like, if the contributors could all be delegated their fair portion of the VP, because like it's not practical for him to break it up the district and do that because it's the reason they all contributed together was to have an element of centralization and power. So it's like the districts are such a complicated thing because like there are bad actor district owners, but then there are people like James who are like busting their ass to like make Decentraland like a really awesome place, like help onboard awesome brands and like do right by their contributors. So it's not as
And
black and white as just district bad.
and that guy has been, I just like he was part of the reason that I got into it back in 2019. Like when I first discovered it, he already had content videos. He was like, I remember seeing the videos he was making. So that guy has been building a long time. I do want to, I see a couple new speakers come up. So I want to make sure we pass the floor to them. Rustan, I think you might have been first. How are you today? Happy Saturday.
Hey guys, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to add to what Mies was saying about the in-world builders. It's kind of over with, but
It's
yeah,
never too late to talk more about the in-world builder.
we investigated every metaverse platform, looked at all the pros and the cons, and are aiming to complete something that has the best of all worlds, basically. And right now, as it is, like we said, we're building in public. It's nowhere near final. And right now we're in the process of setting everything up, and you can, as of like the last 2 weeks, you can actually start building stuff. And again, like nothing is set in stone, and nothing is permanent yet. Once like all assets are done, once most of the coding is finished up, we're going to be fine tuning the shit out of it so that it's like super easy to understand, and pull out all the confusing roadblocks and such. But it's really like he mentioned collaborative building. Like I just wanted to talk more about that specifically. Uh, like the way you can build in front of other people in Hyperfi, that is now possible in Decentraland thanks to the in-world builder, and it was really cool. Lastrom and I were messing around together on a scene, and it's so much fun to be able to build a scene together with someone in world, not on some exterior editor somewhere. So like that's something that I'm very excited for people to try out. And but also don't get stuck with those blinders. I always see people on Decentraland just really getting stuck, focusing on Decentraland, and so much is happening outside of it. People are
Sunk
taking
cost fallacy, man. It's a powerful enemy.
some people are missing the fact that other platforms are paying attention to what Decentraland has done right and done wrong, and they're applying all the correct things. And like part of the reason in-world builder is happening is because I mentioned in last life, like we don't have an in-world builder like on Cyber, Hyperfi, like all these other platforms, Roblox, they all have it, and we don't. Like, how can we get anywhere if we don't even have an in-world builder yet? So like we're behind. We're ahead on so many things, but we're behind on a lot of things as well. And so pay attention to everything else around, and that'll help improve Decentraland as well.
The
Which
year
brings
is
me to
20.
Hyperfi.
What's happening in Hyperfi?
Monday, big Kid Called Beast party happening in Hyperfi on One Existence's A Kid Called Beast World. It's going to be really cool. DJ, a kid called Void is the DJ. He's doing a set, and for anyone that holds a beast, it's an opportunity to win 2 beast keys. Which, if you hold a beast and don't know, you can claim a key right now with your beast, and those keys give you access to like their future drops, which include like toys and games and unique assets.
And
So
Rustan has put in a ton of work on it. It's got a cool ass racetrack. You just even check it out, just to check it out, even if there isn't anything going on. I would say so.
I feel like
It's
Decentraland's future in the metaverse, to Rustan's point about it falling behind, is just as the future's wardrobe. You're going to go to DCL, you're going to get dressed up to go to One Existence Party, you're going to export your VRM, and then you're going to go to Hyper-Fi. And like, that will be DCL, like in the year 2030.
not my party. It's a kid called Beast.
Hello.
And
You should-
Rustan, like from what you said, it's a big day today. Like Fortnite Chapter 5 is today. So like I've been doing some product research in the other metaverses, and I got my skins and I got my
Are you rolling around as like Eminem in a wife beater or Eminem in a top hat or whichever?
No, I got the Eminem with the hoodie that changes your face is pretty cool, but I got like a okay, so I've got a white outfit with white wings, and I want to call myself White Feather. And if you know, you know, but if you don't, I probably shouldn't tell you because it's pretty messed up. But anyway, Fortnite, we need that in DCL. Like, could you imagine that running through, like all of a sudden some squad runs through your parcel?
Well, it's done in Unreal Fortnite. So
yeah,
in theory, one of the objectives of Decentraland was to bring Unreal to the possibility of building. So at the end of this year, so maybe instead of this year, it's happening next year. But that is definitely a possibility for next year, maybe as well.
Are you saying Unreal Engine?
Yes.
Oh, that would be so cool. I think that is the best, most. I haven't
yeah.
delved
I
too
think
much.
Unreal Engine, as it currently stands, requires using a client, right? I don't think you
Yes.
can do web-based Unreal Engine.
Correct.
So that it's kind of like it's like almost like pick your poison. To me, like I think web-based is the way to go. So like to do mobile and VR and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
I guess on mobile you could download like an app or something, but
Well,
it's all about memory, right?
yeah, for me, for example, the ideal thing is to be multi-platform. It does not matter if you can't get inside web-based or phone or uh, Windows, Macintosh, and Linux. But the important thing is that you can enter whatever the media that you prefer and choose. And right now, it's difficult for metaverses. It's not as easy as because one of the things and limitations, for example, with the WebGL, that is the browser base for what we are using here, um, and games online that work in browser based is WebGL. This is changing. Unity, for example, released it already in their latest updates, and versions, the alternative to WebGL. And let's bet that works better. And with that in mind, we will have less crashes, more stability, more possibilities open, and so. But right now, it's not that you cannot do a Fortnite style in Decentraland. The main problem is the same architecture that it has. Fortnite, for example, is an open world, uh, but let's say that the spaces, the builds, and so, especially if you are creator in Fortnite. That I start like one of those. You have your own like world for it, and it's not constrained to a few slots of parcels. This means that you have, as a creator, more capabilities to make scenes that are huge, bigger, that is it can offers to the person that is there multi adventure in there, that you can be there meme, but at the same time, if you want to see an installation without leaving the medium and without having neighbors.
I have a question, Argent. With the Radiscape experience that we just had by Metadyne, I feel like that was really an awesome, very smooth. I don't know if you guys did it on the client.
Yeah,
I
that was
usually don't log
wonderful.
on with the web
That was
browser
beautiful.
because it's just laggy and it doesn't work, but the client works really well for me. It was really smooth, and I felt like I'm not a Fortnite player, but my son does play it a whole lot, and so I watched him play it. And I felt like it was very similar. Like the pew pew was really cool, and I'm wondering if it would be possible. I guess I mean, it is possible because we saw it, but if it would be possible to create a multiplayer experience like that where we could pew pew at each other in that manner, because that was dope.
Well, this exists already in Second Life for over 20 years, so or more or less 20 years. So if
But in
exists,
Decentraland, right? Like to create a multiplayer experience within
yeah,
Decentraland that is like
yeah,
that, like pew pew, and we can run and hide and sort of Fortnite type deal.
yeah, but if it's working already in Second Life, it should work in Decentraland as well, or any kind of game, because the game structure is the same. What we are and MMOs are invented since very very long time. Being World of Warcraft one, the first and the reference in there. Um,
Being that this is
so
such a form of like classic gameplay, right? Like player shooting is such a basic form of gameplay. Why do you think that that doesn't exist in Decentraland yet?
Well, because one of the things is we will have to look at that better, but eh, it's not that you cannot do it. You should be able to do it, but one of my bets maybe is because shooting and it's generating objects that are temporary objects that are the wallets. And that like creates certain type of lag issues,
Right.
uh, which which maybe is a reason if you want performance, maybe it's not a good idea to have a bunch of people shooting at each other.
Yeah, and one of the other reasons, just from all the amazing devs that I met exploring Hyperfy, is that they just don't like Decentraland. You know, it's too janky, too hard to work with, and it doesn't operate on a basic platform that they'd prefer. I don't know the details of the platform stuff, but
Do
I
you know?
remember.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
platforms used to be Unity or Unreal or Godot, you know. So these are more the, game motors or that mostly of the games nowadays are based on. The central one is JSON based, which is already really great, you know. But I guess that you have to limit a lot of things, being functionality and performance the most important one. Eh, as we love to be around and explore different parcels and so on. One of the main issues is exactly that you have a very huge continental land, If you see that the tendency is to have walls, and that comes for a reason also as well. Eh, so that's my betting in there. But I am not a developer. I'm more in the artistic side of the gaming thing. What I know is because of the little things that I know from coding or from other platforms.
Yeah, so I heard you all mentioning things that involve a first-person shooter and multiplayer aspects, and maybe shooting other people. And so I just wanted to hop up here and just share some of what we went through with Angzar, and we that was kind of our goal in the long run, was to get to that. We had to build the base model first of the gamification, and so when we were working with SDK 6, there was a lot of limitations, unfortunately, due to SDK 6, combined with, of course, Decentraland. And so even just getting like not multiplayer, but not shooting each other, shooting objects that are on a server, that are NPCs. There were some challenges with that, and getting it to be accurate with like hitboxes, and just like the timing, and then having the effects also match up with all of that and make it accurate. And
Right.
so the good news is, I think SDK 7, from what I've been seeing, is way, way better. And so that should improve massively, especially with, we're talking about um, performance, right? Performance is definitely
Mhm.
an issue, because we're noticing like the physical locations or the visual locations of where someone was versus maybe where they were on the server. There was some slight differences at different times there, and so
Yeah.
with raycasting with SDK 7 and those kinds of things, we just recently did an update. It was like yesterday or the day before in Angzar, just for more testing and everything else. And I'll tell you that the performance as far as like FPS and the ping for the milliseconds has drastically improved, like a lot.
Mhm.
And so that, I think, will definitely help us. That's my hope, once we finalize and get everything in there. But even just having multiple people, like any, if you had like, let's say 5 or 10 people shooting all at the same time, and then seeing all those people's shots, and then hitting maybe the same target, it just, it wasn't smooth, the very smooth experience. And so I think it's going to get a lot better with SDK 7 here once we kind of have all that finalized. But that's just, it's challenging because people really need to build the base experience first that has, maybe you could shoot something else, and then really when you get into the player movements, because you're checking 2 player locations, I think it's a little harder than NPCs. I could be wrong there, but then you go into things. Okay, well, if you're going to have people dueling each other or shooting each other, what's the next progression of that, right? Maybe people want to duel each other for NFTs or something like that. We have the Coliseum that we've built, a high tech version of in Angzar, and so ideally that would be a great place for people to do some type of duels,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah.
And
And
Yeah.
we
I want to
managed to
add,
do it with the robots. So it's actually I have seen the improvement. I had a question for Rustan. You mentioned that in Hyperfy, like the developers didn't like the how Decentraland was built, and that's it was difficult for them to build, and that's why they didn't want to build in Decentraland. Does Hyperfy have any experiences like what we're talking about here? Or do they? I haven't seen any like
Yeah.
PQ experiences in Hyperfy either, though.
Oh no, there's weapons, there's guns, there's now in the new Christmas build that VoxVN, who's like the best creator in Hyperfy, just put out. You can throw snowballs and at like fast rates. With every click, you throw a snowball and it hits and explodes and stuff. And the vehicles, of course, racing and things like that. But I currently I built a track for a kid called Beast, and knowing that most beasts are going to come in with super unoptimized avatars, I know that there will be issues with the racetrack if they try to race each other because there's going to be lag. So for this party, it's forcing me to do a time trial where you only race against yourself, basically. because I know I don't want to deal with listening to people complain about lag and blaming Hyperfy when it's actually the user and their unoptimized avatars, which is the same case for Decentraland. Decentraland is built on optimization and sort of teaching that optimization, and it's a huge problem for web-based platforms, which is why they don't currently have Unreal Engine. So like those are the issues
Correct.
you with
And
things are not
Not
optimized.
only that, but also I think the language that uses Hyper5, the coding language, is different. Uh, which one they are using is C or
Hyperfy
is
uses 3JS, and I wish I remember all the names, but I don't. But I know 3JS is one. I want to say I can't remember what the other one. React. Unknower might know actually.
if you want to shoot people, hop in The Man Who Sold the World. You can do it just as a guest, and every person is armed with an AK-47 when you hop in.
And Cheddar, aren't you part of that Nifty Island gang that goes in there every day killing each other?
Yes,
No.
Nifty Island is amazing. I have it
Yeah.
downloaded. If you guys haven't checked it out, it is so smooth and it's so cool. And I got the sword because I got the Hyperfy like pack thing for
They
the
dropped it already.
Metaverse Monday sale, where if you buy like 6 Vipes, you get on Cyber Deed, and you get Hyperfy World, and you get like it's an Upstreet Deed. And you also get a Nifty Island sword, and Nifty Island is freaking
Can I
amazing.
have
I
all the
would really
things you're
like to
gonna
see
get
that
that you
kind of
forgot to mention?
gameplay. I would really like to see that kind of gameplay within Decentraland.
I have a
You're gonna get
question
so.
for all of you.
I mean, I think
Is
that's a requirement for it to succeed.
I have a question for all of you. As a gamer and also as a game designer, I'm curious to know why you need or you would like to see game shooting adventures or games in the Decentraland, where there are a bunch of other games that are hype on that and can do it like way better.
For me personally, I love Decentraland. I like hanging out and I like to play with my friends. And I am not interested in clicking a button and waiting for a timer to run down. To me, that's boring. When I do go into Decentraland, even if I am at an event where I'm just listening to music like Stony Eye, or if I'm just at the dollhouse listening to a DJ playing, instead of just standing around dancing, looking at each other's outfits, which is pretty boring for me too, or chatting, I would like to play a game with my friends. And I started playing games in 1984 with the first Nintendo, and I was playing Galaga and I was playing Duck Hunt, which were like
Mhm.
shooting games, the very first kind of pew pew games, right? And so pew pew is like a very basic gameplay type of thing that I think should exist in any gaming environment. And I just don't understand. I mean, well, I do understand now, but I really would like to see something like that in Decentraland. That's my reasoning anyway.
Yeah, it's just one part of the
Yes.
wheel that's necessary. I wanted to share one very interesting insider kid opinion. My daughter plays a lot of Roblox, and now she's back on Fortnite a bit. But she's a big fan of Vipes and rolling for Vipes, and I was telling her that Vipe is releasing their 100 avatars in Roblox, and she was very upset to hear that. She was not happy to hear that there's going to be more avatars in Roblox. She said that there's too many people bringing all these crazy looking avatars in there, and it's kind of ruining the original game that she always loved. I thought that was really interesting to hear.
Speaking
Well,
of
I don't know how many years have your child, but so far I knew that now with 13 years old you can get inside Roblox and so, which this is the general issue that we are having and started with our generation, no? And we see it like more implemented and implemented in nowadays in game industry, that they are targeting very young people with already experiences where you invert a lot of money in. It's not a few, but a lot, So, what are your opinions in that?
So Roblox the average age I think is around 13. They just had their investor conference, and if anyone who hasn't seen it, I recommend you go to the YouTube page for Roblox and look it up from like a month ago. And their current fastest growing market that they have is like 16 to 20, to give you all an idea. And a lot of that I believe has to do with the mobile factor. And as far as spending and stuff, people, their parents, buy them the stuff usually. And Roblox, does have, people have complaints, just like Rustan said. There's a lot of different complaints for Roblox of some of the recent updates they've done. They just recently increased the prices, the minimum prices that creators can charge for some of their items. Like a full item set, when I can't remember what the number went from, but it went from like 75 to 175 Robux. And so that's one thing. Another thing is, for anyone who liked the the Portal experience, the was it the Dyna something experience
Yeah, I
that we
love that. I loved it.
yeah. So there's a Roblox one that's similar. And so what I would challenge you all to do is go look this up. It's called Tunneler, Tunneler, on Roblox. And so that's like their version of it. And so I've played it, and I will tell you that I prefer DCL by far, and it's an amazing experience. So that's just my comparison and some of my thoughts on Roblox with you.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
interesting what you're
when
saying
we were
about
looking at,
Roblox. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to add to what Mies was saying, that when we were looking at Roblox in-world builder, like the basic one, there's two versions. It's basically in similar to Decentraland, like there's the in-world builder, and then there's like SDK, and we were zeroing in on the in-world builder. But I was not impressed with the Roblox in-world builder. And what's kind of cool about Roblox though, which is the same as Decentraland, is like it's not limited to specific things. You can have all sorts of different crazy games. Some are like really, really high quality, and some of them are just kind of weak,
It's interesting what you said about Roblox, Mies, because I have nieces and nephews. Six of them are very young, high school age and below, like freshman year and below, and they are the ones that play. And so they are like way below that age that you mentioned, right? Like the littlest ones that are playing that's playing Roblox right now. He's 6 or 7, and so and he's a beast at it, like he kicks ass at Roblox, kicks my ass for sure, like you said, their parents, my brother, right? He buys them their little Robux and they get to spend it, and they walk around like we walk around in Decentraland,
it's
looking
funny.
cool with all these wearables, running around, smashing stuff, going into different worlds and playing different games, interacting with different people. It's not very different from what we do. It's just on a different platform and at a different level. But they're like super young.
You know,
The
Yeah,
three boys
you're
are the
right.
youngest, and they are 6, 7, and 8.
I think
You
there's
made
one
me.
thing that we don't talk about it much. I know we talked about it the first Twitter space we ever did, but I mean, as a educator and somebody that's around a lot of little kids, maybe we've all moved on from COVID because we're adults, and probably most of us, our brain was fully formed when we went into lockdown. But not this generation. This generation went into lockdown when they were, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. They were told something that we never had to go through, that you cannot be around people. You can't be by your friends. Don't go by that person. Keep 6 feet away. Stay away. I can tell you, because I work at an elementary school right now, I can tell you it changed this generation. My friend is a principal, and he said this generation, this group is different. He said now that they're back, they have this love-hate relationship with being around people. They are more hands-on, touchy-feely. They want like physical contact, but they want to stay away from their peers. So I think there's this, we don't even think about it, guys. Like, we do not know the repercussions of this generation. Like the third graders right now are the kids that were kindergartners when COVID hit, and they were told to stay away from people, but yet they want to be social, they want to be around their peers. And so you think about like the Cheddar, the ages of your young friends, or Rustan, like think about being 16, 17, 18 years old now. You were in lockdown for years. You weren't able to be a normal teenager, like going to
Yep.
parties, like getting
And they're
into,
still in
and
lockdown.
They are,
because
but
in
they have
certain
met.
settings we still have to wear masks and things like that. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
still it's
So I think online gaming and gaming that gives you the ability to connect with other users. There is this, and I'm just speaking from personal experience that I witnessed. There is this desire, strong desire to connect, to have your friend group. Like uh I just
to find
the
your
kids that were
tribe. Yeah.
little, yeah, like they didn't get birthday parties, they didn't get, holiday parties, they didn't get all this stuff, and they're not going to be the same, and so they're going to feel very comfortable having an online, like their online identity is going to be 100% different than what we know right now, because for a lot of them, that was the only identity they had. They met their best friends on Zoom. Like they got to know their friends online. They probably got to play. That was like the only way they could go socialize, go to recess. Like you can love it or hate it, but that was our world. So I think that the smart companies are going to realize this as a whole, like society, this group, like I said, the third graders right now were in kindergarten when when lockdowns hit. If you were smart, you'd be looking at them and you'd be looking at this whole cohort, because I bet a lot of the older people that are like, maybe they're like 20, they're leaving home for the first time. And you're like, why is this old person, why is this old, 20-year-old, why are they on Roblox? Why aren't they out like partying? Well, they're probably not comfortable. It's probably still like a little awkward to go, be social. Not all of them. Some of them just returned to normal. But as somebody who I was a high school teacher when COVID hit, I watched, I watched the high schoolers go through that. I watched them come back. I watched them try to go back to like normal life. Do you guys know what it was like to date during COVID? Like to want to
Yeah,
kiss your
it was
boyfriend in the
terrible.
hall and they're like,
My son was class of 2020, and he was
yeah,
actually supposed to graduate when COVID hit, and he was the graduating class that did not get to
yep,
have that experience. They didn't get a prom, they didn't get a homecoming, they didn't get
yeah,
a graduation ceremony, they didn't get graduation parties. All of these normal things that everybody else got to have, and after 12 years that you
yeah.
expected, all got taken away from you. Like, and it was harsh for them. For my son, it was harsh for the parents to have to drive up and pick up your diploma in some drive up
Oh
line where you drive
yeah.
through,
Or
and
the
and
the the, the
it was devastating.
videotape, like the edited walk when they edit it to look like everybody's walking
Yeah.
down to get their diploma together. Like, oh my gosh. Cringe.
And not only, you had me thinking about something, not only the isolation of COVID, but also for kids who are naturally isolated, let's say in rural areas where now people are just starting to get internet. Like I live in backwoods Virginia, I have to drive a little bit to get to the city. It's not far from here, but in this area, you still have people that don't have basic access to internet. Can you imagine that in the United States, right? In a place like Virginia, which is like a tech hub, right? In rural Virginia, there's still areas that don't have access to high speed internet. So they wouldn't even be able to log on to Decentraland. But there's these people now also are building an online identity like in suburbia. And I think that these kids, you're right, it's going to be different for them. They are going to have a digital identity where they're connected with other people that are not in their immediate vicinity.
And
For the good and for the bad, because one of the things that I see a lot in gaming is the bad moderation, and the moderation tools sometimes are lacking. They are
Absolutely.
not
The chat in Roblox is yeah. If your kids are
so
on
it's
Roblox.
toxic, So
Well,
that's
here's
the
another
problem.
catalyst to that. You have parents who just spent years on lockdown with their kids. I think this generation also is not moderated because parents, not every parent, but my guess is some of them are like, you know what? I kept you, I kept you alive through COVID. I cannot monitor. I am gonna lose my shit. So do the best you can. I just feel like that, like those two catalysts coming together. I don't know.
Right. Like parents were affected.
But
Parents were
yeah.
affected too.
Oh yeah, I mean parents struggle. Yeah, like this We do
And
not
because
talk
of
about
that,
it.
the kids are double affected. The kids are affected because of their own experiences, and then they're affected because their parents were affected. And because their parents were affected, then they're going to be affected because of the shit that affected their parents. So, like, they're going to get double whammy. I'm, I pray for
Well,
this generation.
and well, and
But
but
the kids are going
also,
to be
like,
all right, also.
I mean, we could look at
Why?
it like I've gone down that doom and gloom road too, but I also have seen a generation that is more flexible than ever. Like,
Oh,
oh, I
yes.
don't get to go to school anymore. Okay, fine. And like, oh, I have to get myself on Zoom. Okay, fine. Like this generation, they're going to be able to be like, yeah, I don't know, like I did COVID. This is easy compared to
And
that.
you
Like,
know what I love about them? That they are tearing down all of the walls of isms. There's no racism, there's no sexism, there's no religion. It's like, my kids don't care. They don't care. They don't care if you're black. They don't care if you're white. They don't care if you're gay. They don't care if you are foreign. They don't care if you speak another language. They do not care. They just want to be cool. They just want to chill. They just want to hang out. And they're just kind of all of these walls that were sort of separated, or they that traditional powers to be try to put up to sort of separate people. I think the kids are much less susceptible to the isms and the separatism.
So Roblox is already, in my opinion, kind of they're gonna they're kind of building on this, and so they're gonna build within their worlds a few different things. They've been focusing on STEM and grants for STEM projects for probably 2 or 3 years now. And so during COVID, they realized, hey, we've got the games, we've got this other stuff here. What else is it that we can offer people? And so they're focusing on education inside of their metaverse. In addition to that, that's the younger generation, right? Maybe. And so it could be anyone, but at the same time they're also focusing now on the older generation, and they're talking about, and their biggest plans from their latest investor conference on YouTube is they're focusing on adults and work environment and meetings within their metaverse. And so they're trying to get all parties of all ages in there, and they are really, in my opinion, smart and playing ahead of most people at that, from everything you all just talked about.
When Second Life started with the social metaverse that we know, the typical that is not the main focus was not gaming per se, but socializing. One of the best recall, the best investors there in the platform and so on were universities and lot of NASA, etc., etc., especially because there were not neither platforms like Zoom or Discord or, that you can hold a multi-call and at the same time watch a presentation or what else inside the world. And they realized that if you were working in different parts of the world, and at the same time there was this need of the be present as if you don't have a camera, don't worry, you will have your avatar, you know, in there in an ambient that is 3D, that is more similar to the typical, when you want to pay attention in a meeting, what you do, you typically sit down and you gather to see something together or to pay attention to something together. And they started with that. And later on, nowadays, we have better tools for that. Like, we are gathering here in Twitter instead of, for example, having the voice in wall in the Decentraland. That's a reason also, no? There's why we still doing this. So it's very interesting that they are now trying to get the older generations, the business generation, the educators generation, inside again because of the ecosystem of 3D, but I'm not sure if we are yet like fully prepared to give the full immersive experiences on a level that people in a meeting, that is adults, can have their meetings in there, or what else? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, when you look at what we have done in the past, 5 years, we would never put a 5-year-old on a Zoom call. We would never have done that. We would never have put like a 6-year-old on a device all day, or, have them communicate with people. And the fact that that generation has had to just evolve, and that like their entire schooling was done on a Zoom call. It's like that normally would have happened, like that kind of like distance learning, that would have happened in like AP Science, their 12th grade year of high school, when they sign up for like some advanced class that a university is doing, or they would do it if they went, to a university. So this little generation here learned how to do distance learning, remote learning, way before anybody ever would have sent, like, no doctor would have ever given guidance. So when you look at what they're going to be used to by the time now they're 8 years old. So like in 10 years, when they're graduating high school, going to some crazy remote class from, Cornell University, that's not going to be unusual for them. So really,
No.
like, the entire landscape has to evolve so that meetings in the future are just going to be different, because they've already jumped over that technology hurdle.
And not only that, but it's going to continue into their adulthood, because I've been reading all of the reports about the commercial real estate plummeting in cities because the workforce after the pandemic has switched to remote working, and they really never came back to the office for the most part. So into adulthood, this is going to continue for them.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that I know that are like trying to evade Amazon because they left Amazon physically and they worked remotely, and they went to their vacation homes in the mountains, and now they don't want to go back. So like there was a giant influx of Amazon and Microsoft workers that are now like living in the woods because it's cheaper. And well, I mean, when you own two homes, it's probably like you got other problems. But I mean, at least in Washington, there was a mass exodus of West Siders, as we call them, that went to the other side of the mountains because that it's pretty and the city was shut down. So I mean, magnify that across a giant scale. But at the end of the day, you're still missing that social aspect, and that's what Decentraland can give you in so many ways. And I think no matter what, people will still be looking for that, like, years into the future. They'll be, I think, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I
I've
think
never
that's one of the
processed
things
the
that we
pandemic.
really learned about ourselves during the pandemic, is that we crave and want to be connected no matter what.
I think for whatever metaverse or social game or MMO is very important, the aspect of being able to moderate. Since we don't have enough good tools for moderation nor reporting conducts that are dangerous or abusive or toxic or illegal, um, still complicated.
But I think that'll come very soon with the advancements of AI. I really think in the next year or two that there will be it'll be able to be like done live and automated and things like that. So that's my hope, at least.
I'm curious if anyone in our community considers themselves an extrovert, or if what we experience is just an introvert's paradise.
Introverts
I
para.
consider myself a social introvert. Like I'm not really an extrovert. Like I'm an introvert, but I'm like a sociable person. I
I
don't know if
consider
that even exists, but anyway.
Yeah, I consider myself an outgoing introvert.
Yeah, like even like, what's that saying? I think Sinful had something to say about that a little bit ago, but I
Yeah,
could hear.
I feel like this whole metaverse thing is really just a niche, you know, and it caters to a specific group of people, and it maybe will not become mainstream. I know a lot of people out here by the beach that have tried really hard to get involved, and they just don't see it the way that I do, you know.
Well, and look at where people that why are there so many Floridians in Decentraland? And like why can't I find anybody in Washington, like the hub of technology, like Microsoft, everything? Why aren't they in it? So like there might be regional things too that like the Florida people that fight gators are like, yeah.
It's
I'll go.
Yeah,
Florida and LA, man.
there's no
We're
gator
more
deaths in
open.
the metaverse. It's
We're
safer.
we're more open to ideas that may or may not kill us.
I've
Well,
never
also
heard of
LA's
Florida as open minded. That's not how the PR is making it
Florida
feel.
man.
Florida.
And
Florida
Mies,
man.
you were saying something about Los Angeles. A lot of
yeah.
people.
So you know, to me at least, what I've experienced, I could be wrong, you know, maybe it's just our groups, but it's ironic. It's hilarious to me that some of what I would say some of the best weather in the country, LA and Florida, like South Florida, are the people are online and they're not outside.
Yeah, we take the weather for granted for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why Seattle people that have like 10 months of rain don't want to come inside and be in Decentraland. I'm starting to really wonder what the heck.
Before Decentraland, I was at the beach like 5 out of 7 days of the week. Now I'm there like twice, 2, 3 times a month.
Same here. You know, I used to go to the beach like 4 days a week when I first started getting into photography, at least, and I'd go watch the sunset every day after work and photograph it. And then it changed to I would go on the weekends and go to the swamps, and so that's what I did.
Okay, that's so weird because like so Seattle, I've got a lot of friends that work in like big tech. And I mean, oh my god, it was embarrassing trying to show them Decentraland because the game, of course, I think I was on like the Airbnb Wi-Fi, but it was like shitty, like bad, not just bad, but like the worst performance. And it's almost like this closed-mindedness because they're around so much tech that like it's got to be like immediate, and if it's not flashy and immediate, like they're just it's like okay, like it's on to the next thing. But I don't know, I'd love to dive into that. And like Rustan, you talked about personality types. There's a lot of there's a like let's see, Gardner's multiple intelligences. There's what is the other personality there's a bunch of different personality quizzes. We should do that and like poll all of the users of Decentraland, have them take these tests, find out what personality types are here, and then compare that to the norm. Because we might all be like just this weird little spectrum of like we're
Yeah,
introverts,
makes
but we like, you know, we're like really well coping. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
every time I show someone outside the metaverse, like spend 30 minutes all excited explaining it to them, and then they just look at me with their mouth dropped and just say, "Do you bathe?"
Oh my gosh, I've given up on trying to tell the other elementary teachers what I do on the other days of the week when I'm not there. I'm like, well, you know, there's this thing and it's just like a Web3 thing. And then I'm like, nope, I can't Web3 doesn't make sense. And then I'm like, it's like this metaverse. Nope, that doesn't make sense. And so I don't know.
But
Like I'm
then,
telling them
but
they're talking about satellite dishes.
You know, MMO social games still around for since I think 2003 or 02, something like that. And in this time, it's a generation. So, and there's still a lot of bunch of people that it's still complicated to explain uh, why metaverse is an option for a lot of things: education, business, uh, uh, you know, health, even, and so on.
when I was so Roblox clearly doesn't limit itself to personality types. Like everybody's using that for sure, and when I was exploring, before I explored the builder, there's this one game that I was checking out that had its own builder. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but you needed to pay for the game to look into it. And I was like, I'm not buying Robux. And there's this other app on Roblox called Please Donate, where basically it's just this little community space with these like pop-up tents that you can set up and just ask people to donate money to you. And so I joined that, and there's like 40 children running around, a whole bunch asking for donations, and a whole bunch of like child whales wearing these super expensive avatars that they were able to purchase, and they're like donating to random people, you know. And then I found out that you could like create a game pass for free, and you could offer it as something for a donation. So I was like, oh, that's cool. That's like an NFT. They don't know this, but it's like an NFT, you know, but you don't really get to use it or sell it or own it or anything. But I was able to make this game pass, which was basically I made an AI generated picture and attached it to it, and then was able to give it away for Robux, which enabled me to buy that game that I wanted to see. But while I was trying to earn this money, and it took me like 2 hours to earn 21 Robux, something like that, I was actually like interacting with these kids and talking to them and asking them about the platform and complimenting their avatars, and you know, they were responding back to me, and it was just like Decentraland. Um, but it was funny because I would be like, have any of you guys tried Decentraland? And it would just be like crickets, you know. And it's like they're right on the cusp, and I really think like a lot of the ways that like in history, like the 80s especially, when someone's dropping a new toy or something cool, creating some new trend like slap bracelets, for example, like the creators would put that in the hands of the alpha kids, and then everybody would want it, you know, in schools and stuff. And so that's how they would create trends back in the day. And so really all it takes is like getting an alpha kid to to make Decentraland popular. But I don't think that Decentraland right now is just something that an alpha kid would want to show off, really, you know, compared to what else is out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's something that we can see in with the Instagrammers and YouTubers and so on. Uh, we have these uh, people that we are now, instead of our immediate friends, we or immediate, you know, social group. Now we are looking at these Instagrammers, these YouTubers, these,
Yeah,
so for exactly the same
influencers, right?
influencers, yes. And this is something that you can see in all the medium. I think that, for example, we don't have yet too much influencer power, like at the super high level. I mean, we can have some influencers that comes and so, but the thing is that these influencers are getting paid for what they are doing. So
Right. I think we saw it with music festivals, right? The first two, the foundation paid for music and musical influencers to bring in crowds, and it worked, right? Lots of people showed up, and we saw a lot of people come in and were confused and like, what the hell's going on here? Oh, it's just a video. It's not. I thought it was really going to be them, or this is laggy, or whatever. We saw that. Like, I like to imagine what it would have been like if like this influencer was there live and the platform was working flawlessly, and then maybe these alpha users could be like, yo, you got to check out Decentraland, this shit's cool. But instead we got the opposite.
So are you thinking like if we wrote a grant for like $500,000, $500,000 for like social media, or if we got $500,000 for Mr. Beast to come in and maybe visit a prime build with his chocolate bars called D's Nuts, and you log in and you get a free D's Nuts t-shirt, would that be a good use of money?
I think that would be good, but I think Decentraland is not ready for that. I think
No, structurally, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
he
I
would
think
Yeah,
Within
crash.
what
He
he
would
is
it would
thinking.
be
crash
a
into the
big
yeah,
ground.
it would be terrible timing to do that. I think I mean it's amazing what we've all built in the last 2 years. But I just really think that like it still has a tremendous way to go, and it would be cool for like people to like come to the Mr. Beast thing and then be like, oh, what the hell? What else is here? And then they go to the rat race thing and that's cool, or they go see a cool party and meet cool people and see all the wardrobe. But there has to be a lot more than that for the short
yeah.
attention spans,
So I think there's a few things
For
that are
example,
missing. So
for
one
example,
thing is accessibility. So you need like mobile, probably. That's
mm,
one thing. And two, um, yes, we need influencers and people with a large outside presence to come in. So that's another thing. But another thing is there has
that's
to be a reason
that's the
for them
thing.
to come in.
Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the
And
thing. What some studies, it happens also with collectors and so on. When you are bringing people from a community that is already on and is outside of your community, you can have some collectors or influencers or people that is coming with them to stay, but most of them they will not be. So I don't think that is a good investment or at the a long term, and that gives stability. What I think is that uh, platforms should raise or um, bet on or promote more the influencers that are inside the platform, because
yeah.
those are the people that if they become great outside the central land or any other medium, is the people that is gonna bring the people inside because they
Definitely.
know
I've
it
been
is a
watching I've been watching DJ Jazzy Jeff on Twitch and YouTube Live a lot. He DJs every week, and I'm been wanting to find a way to connect to him because it's like all you got to do is like plug that link into Decentraland and you're live in the metaverse. And he doesn't know it yet. They don't know it yet. And he's like doing what he needs to do every week, and he could be like connecting to so many more people. And it's like people just don't know it yet. And like one of the things that I'm working on that's on my to-do list is to just build a basic hyperfi world that like what I have envisioned is basically you come into the world, it's a dark space with lots of trees, and there's a little firefly, like a little pixie flying around, and it just says catch the pixie. And so basically it teaches you how to move on mobile, um, to use the joystick and stuff on mobile, how to use it to catch the pixie. And as you're trying to catch the pixie, it unveils like some of my artwork in the trees. It lights up, unveils it, and then you go even further. And when you finally catch it, this sort of stage comes out, and these 3D VRM avatars come walking out, and you see my body paintings in motion in 3D, and you get to explore it now that you know how to walk around. And that's just the experience. And then it links you to my LinkedIn to see my website or whatever. Basically, the whole point of that is to be able to put the link on my Instagram account in my description bio, and then do like one post video and say, you guys want to see something cool, click the link in my bio, and that's it. I don't even say anything else. And I will, with my reach, be able to generate a whole bunch of normies to unknowingly experience the Web3 metaverse on their phones. That's my goal. And I think that's like a gateway step that could, once people start to understand what I'm showing them, then I could push them to the next level. Like, you want to see something else cool from within there, I could say, go check out Decentraland or go check out this, whatever. But it's got to be easy, accessible, like me said, right? And that's just like a basic step that I'm working on.
And so I think the
uh,
next level is also incentives and money. And so that's what's
mhm.
important. Okay. And so there's multiple factors and ways to do that. So one of the things is going to be referrals. So with Roblox, number one, you can have money, you can make money just by literally having people in your scene. That's one thing. And so there's a reason for people to attract other people and to build. In addition to that, There's other platforms and other things to where if you refer people, they spend money. Like DG did this, I think, early on, to where you get a piece of something if people sign up through your codes. And so what needs to happen is
DG's
it needs
actually
to
brought
become
that back
so.
recently.
Yeah, and that needs to happen because it needs to get to the level to where someone that is a big influencer that wants to make more money somewhere else is like, you know what? I want to make more money, and I think there's an easy or somewhat easy way to do this in this platform that no one has done it yet, or I'm going to be the first or whatever it is because no one has sent out these referrals yet. So those people that will be like the first, bring in 100,000 people and get these referrals for all those future users. That is what's truly going to bring someone in from the outside, but there also has to be content. Sorry.
Well, for
Yeah, I
DG, I
guess
would
it
be
goes back
shilling
to
the
the
hell out of it,
content.
but you got to live not in the United States. So anyone out there who's not in the United States and is in a country that is allowed to play in Malta-regulated casinos, I recommend. They give you you get I mean, you also have to be comfortable making money from people losing or gambling in a casino because you'll get paid if they win or lose. But if you're comfortable with that, lots of money to be made shilling the Central Games Casino. It's a very, very generous affiliate package.
I've definitely done very well with TV.
Yeah, but that is not the perfect advertisement for a social platform, because what you are only attracting is gamblers. What you want to attract is social interaction that is stable,
Oh
that
yeah, I mean, I agree with
stabilizes
you. It's
the
definitely not the
ecosystem.
best look for all of Decentraland or the metaverse to be like,
Yeah.
are you interested in the metaverse?
Anyway,
Would you like to play
yeah.
roulette?
Yes, for very long time, when people were talking on Second Life, for example, they were saying that's just for sex and gamble, and all this bad publicity, especially when universities and so on, they were not being like, they were doing really amazing stuff, but journalists, and so they were not promoting that part. They were promoting more because for example, in the education industry inside world were not the same amount of gains than, for example, the casinos. Later on, that due the U.S. Regulations, it has to had been regulated, and gambling is inside world is more controlled, which also is very good, because yeah, if you want you can gamble, but it's not anymore the cover of the center of this metaverse. And I think it should be at a long term for all of us to understand that certain activities should not define a platform that is a metaverse, because the metaverse is not just for Pisces, but also for intellectual activity, gaming that is more like shooting, chip, chip, and other things that are cool, that you can do more things. That if you want to do the other things, you also can do it, but at least you don't have that bad publicity, especially if also performance is not helping. And I would love the link to that chasing butterfly, please.
Yeah, unfortunately, the media will just ride with whatever the worst story is that gets people to think whatever they think, and it doesn't matter what the platform is or what the thing is. Decentraland, they talked about 38 users, and so they're just going to pick whatever they want that looks the worst and ride with that because people are gonna be like, oh well, that's into read this article and oh that place sucks and I'm not going to go there.
Yeah,
Well,
bad
But that's
no
publicity is so
publicity is bad
because,
dangerous.
publicity.
but this is not only that, it's because sometimes is what, as a researchers and so on, is the first thing. For example, the Decentraland, me coming from other metaverses, was at the beginning a metaverse that I did not want to go inside, because what I knew, it was something that I was not interested in. It was by the Metaverse 3 connected with me, and then is how I linked to the community building Decentraland. And I met a wonderful people in there that are doing other things as well, other things that are interesting to me, as the conversations that we are having right now, which is exactly what you want in a metaverse to happen. But this discovering of this fruit is not on the main cover yet of, I would say, any metaverse that is NFT based right now.
Yeah,
Just
that
in
speaks to like what
Bitcoin.
Rustan was saying earlier about how none of the cool devs want to have anything to do with Decentraland.
Bitcoin and ETH are pumping right now.
That right there, I think, is the other thing. Like we've been talking so much about just builders, like we need to, like all that side. Like, let's just be honest. Crypto is like, the funny elephant in the room we're not even talking about. But like, that's how I feel.
Correct.
Like,
Well,
it's
like this is the distilled corner of the crypto community that doesn't exclusively care about price go up. Like I
maybe
don't own
that's
that much
why
crypto.
we're all like broke builders, that we're like, we have no money because we're just not.
Yeah, my crypto portfolio is exclusively in Mishita, Doki, and Nikki Fuego
I,
wearables.
I,
So those are the charts I care about.
I saw the judgmental post from Sauce that I was feeling judged
Well,
because
to be fair, he was, I think, specifically talking about DG mythics in his reference. So your hundreds of mythics are even far more impressive, and you're more diversely invested in this incredibly niche corner of the internet.
Fancy and I, when multi-sig wallet rentals come out, Fancy and I, our plan will be enacted.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I can't either. Does anybody know how to make that? Because Fancy and I don't. But we're ready.
Win, win, win. So the thing is that in my also in my as I said, neither is only commerce. I think that it should be running neither the cover of any metaverse. Commerce is very important, of course, but it's social interactions and what you can achieve. For example, if we go again into a pandemic, it would be nice to have a metaverse that is adapted to a metaverse. We understand metaverse that not only one metaverse platform, but the metaverse in general. It should be like more as we want the world to be, instead of one-sided thing that we can do this and that's only that's up. That's just that.
Yeah, and I think we also need to be building for like the metaverse, not as it is today, but like, what would it be like when there's thousands of users, if we could support that. I know Sauce said that once about wearables, that like they're not building it for the current ecosystem, they're building it where there would be many 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 users. And at least like when I'm creating emotes, I'm thinking about that, like, should I make it mythic or legendary or 1,000, or is, I mean, I don't know, just to even think that there could be 100,000 users, my brain struggles to go there. But that would be kind of cool. But I think, at least for me, I'm trying to build with like a 5-year plan down the road, or a 10-year plan. Like, I'm not building for today, I'm building for like planting those seeds, and then yeah, I don't know, and hopefully surviving that long.
Right, in a marketplace where minting like a legendary feels optimistic, like minting a common is just, you're just like, man, that'll be cool.
Oh my gosh, I know. And in the past it wasn't like that. So it definitely is an ever-changing landscape of like, uh yeah, it's interesting to see the brands come in and they're like minting commons, mint
People
of
have,
100,000.
yeah, that I don't know. I don't even want to get on commons. I'm such a stingy quote unquote collector.
Yeah.
Like,
The sand.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
the reality is like in the grand scheme of the world, like 5,000 of something, like if Decentraland ever is truly popular, like that's a collectible. That is in fact very uncommon if you know a million people are like hanging out in Decentraland.
Well, and Morph told me something once, and I it stuck with me that like the layer one wearables, they're not NFTs. They're not, the layer two. They're minted on the Ethereum blockchain. So then he said something about that, like if there were other metaverses that spawn off and are built also on the Ethereum blockchain, then in theory, wouldn't those wearables, those NFTs be like transferable? And Morph, he's
Yeah,
a lot
potentially.
smarter than me, and he can explain it a lot better than me.
No,
Yeah,
that's
but
true.
he is
That's
so
true.
he had the misfortune of making a boatload of money in party hats. That's how he paid for his migration from New Zealand to Canada. He explained to me one day. So like he is just like that went so well for him that he can like he's blinded by the like reality. Like not everybody wants a party hat. It's a possibility. So like I don't know.
You're
Don't
talking
get me
about
wrong. Morph is smart
talking
and I
about
buy what he
Morph,
tells me. But
Morph
Yeah,
yeah,
Morphbot
yeah.
party hats.
Yeah, from RuneScape.
from
RuneScape.
yeah.
You click on I don't know where I can find the link, but he has the party hat hypothesis. He wrote
But
like
you gotta
an
also remember,
essay.
Jared, like who wants to leave New Zealand for Canada?
A psycho, crazy man. My
Okay,
other
let's
favorite. I don't know. I love Morph. My favorite quote. I can't remember what we were talking about. I remember just mad about something because it's like something great. He was doing something awesome. I'm like, oh my god, Morph, just tell me something about your life is bad. He's like, I'm like, tell me you're ugly. He's like, Jared, it would upset you how attractive I am. And I just loved that. Like, it was such a beautifully worded response along those lines. And I was just like, damn it, Morph, you got it
Yeah,
all.
Morph is awesome.
Total package,
I
that
have
guy. Could listen to him
I
talk
have
about
a
just about anything.
question. I have a question for the recovering a little bit to the influencers and so on, because it's also again what we need in order to show the world other things inside the platform. I would like the question is for already Sinful and Brandon and Doctor that I see them down there, that they are influencers, and I would love to know what they think about that.
I don't know, crickets.
Brandon, get up here and answer the ladies' questions.
They
Come
are
on,
not ready.
Brandon. I'm not feeling creative, and I don't think I can do anything, and I don't think I'm awesome. So I need you to come up and tell me the way.
Brandon is pretty awesome. Yes, Brandon, influence us.
Is Brandon an influencer? Does he identify as an influencer? Have you?
Sinful.
How
Sinful is also as
how
an
how could how
influencer.
how
You
could you? What's up?
Sinful, you are also an influencer inside the platform. So the question is also addressed to you, also as Brandon and Doctor. Please go come up.
So, Brandon, as the biggest influencer on Decentraland, what do you feel about the current situation of our metaverse platform?
That,
Three words or less, please.
oh fuck. Hi. That doesn't count as my words. No, those don't either. Fuck. Hi.
You used all your words up.
All right.
Time's
I'll
up.
see you guys later. Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Hey, Brandon,
What was
how
the
you doing,
question
bro?
exactly? Hi.
He wasn't
I
ready.
wasn't ready at all. My bad.
We look so good for anybody just listening to us that doesn't know us, but I think we're a pretty tight group. But they're gonna be like, "Who are these people?"
Hi, I'm Brandon. I do things.
Post it.
What was the question?
Now we can put an article saying Brandon expose it. So maybe we can create hype for people to get inside, The question was, what are your thoughts as influencers inside the platform that should promote Decentraland or help you to promote Decentraland on a better way to the outside world without having to have at the cover of the Decentraland in this case, but metaverse in general, stuff like gambling or any kind or sex. Although the central is not too much sex, right? Right now, or a just party, or just gaming for the outside world.
So, like, are you asking what content do you think would bring in the most traction?
Correct, especially at long term, not only in
I
the central, but in metaverses in general.
what there were a few people that were making really, really good party videos. Like, oh fuck, who was it? There
Trick,
were
that
Kevin
was
Chang.
Trickster.
Trickstar.
Wasn't
Bro.
Diluvium.
Exactly. So basically, like people like Trickstar, iNeo, and all those guys were making super cinematic like shots of like the actual gatherings and parties. Those I think were the best Decentraland marketing videos because that's what we use it for. We use it to come hang out with our friends and either listen to what the case. But that I think that that would be the best way to go because it produces and shows what we love to do is just come and hang out and vibe. For me personally, all of my content creation with Decentraland involved taking the assets out of Decentraland and put them in Blender because I can't use Decentraland the way I want to. So it's the whole VRM export thing that was the most amazing thing for creatives like me because I can take the assets that I own and plop them into animations for other things. So what you guys are talking about, like the layer one wearables, that blew my mind because that's what we want. We want to be able to log into other places and just see the stuff that we own. So I think if we wanted to move forward with marketing, I don't want masses because I don't want them to be disappointed. You know, I'd rather have people that want to own cool little like accessories and show those off in other places. Decentraland right now for me is a closet for characters and like props and stuff.
I hope they're listening to this and like really take your words into consideration. Yeah, Brandon, that as you were speaking, I guess my answer came to mind. What would help me onboard people to Decentraland a lot easier? One thing that would increase my potential by exactly 100% would be if the frickin' platform worked on the big events.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
like that's why I love everyone in this room specifically is because everyone in here is the reason this place is even advancing in any sort of way. Like the fact that Last Slice has to go in and fix the builder blows my fucking mind because it's you guys deserve so much more credit and I'm proud of all you motherfuckers that are doing all this shit. You guys are killing it. And I'm just upset and discouraged that it's you guys doing it though. As proud as I am, it's just I wish it wasn't you guys doing it. I
But I
wish it
mean,
was
technically, that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
community
yeah, yeah.
owns it, community builds it. Like I still like I've been asking. I don't want to do it, but I've been asking for people to raise the limitations on parcels for like 2 years now. And nobody's done the proposal. I don't mess around with governance stuff that much, so that's why I haven't done it. But like that needs to be done if we're gonna get anywhere. That needs to be opened up. And I'm tired of hearing about people saying like Decentraland won't work if you raise the limitation. Like Decentraland doesn't work, and I've pushed the limits of my parcels and stuff, and I'm seeing. I can see what it's capable of given the current limitations, and I know what it's capable of if you lax those limitations a little bit. And like there was specifically that Crystal City event I was asked to participate in that. That's where I gave away the helmet that I made for free, and they didn't let me be in the actual Genesis City build because my build, which had a full 3D scan of a body painted model wearing the helmet, was too big for the limitations that they were limiting themselves to. But through my experience building the cove and everything and Casa Rustan, I like destroy those triangle limitations. I abuse the hell out of it. And I told them like it'll work. If you can't let me put it in your world, I'll put it in a world and it'll work fine in a world. And you just put a link to my world from Crystal City there. And so that's what we did. And everything worked totally fine, just as I expected, you know, and like I don't know. People gotta go for it. But I need somebody to do that proposal. I'm not doing the proposal. Somebody's got to do that proposal and blow this shit up.
Well, I
Rustan and his approach to proposals is, he's like, I can't get them to buy pizza for the brilliant marketing. I'm never doing another proposal ever.
Yeah. That was the most revealing proposal I'd ever seen in my life. Over $1,200. It was ridiculous.
You cash grabbing monster! How dare you want to spend every
If
dollar?
Yeah.
if you will get with me and give me a bit of information, I'll see if I can't put one together, Rustan.
Yeah, I mean, I think a number of people in here are aware of like what we're asking for. Like, it could go beyond me, you know. Like, but I think parcel should be at least double, if not triple or more, than the current limitations.
think Rustan, you brought some good points up, and one thing we don't talk about at all are the layoffs that happened in Decentraland over the summer. And we don't talk about, well, we say they need to change this, they need to change that, but we don't know who they really are. And I think that personally, I'm not waiting for anybody to come and save us. We have to save ourselves. I think that the reality is that the foundation is not what it used to be. They hired during a bull market, and I think we've lost some really talented people, and really it's up to us to like decide, is this really what we want to be putting our time and effort into? Um because I think we're not done seeing some changes, and I think that we're going to see yeah, crazy, we're the future is just not going to be the landscape we see today. So when think we have to ask the difficult questions and rely on the Tao to do some things that if the foundation can't, then we have to keep pushing. But I just don't think that we should. Um, yeah, I don't know. I like
That
we
that's
gotta
it.
we gotta.
That's it exactly, Canessa. I keep saying this. It's eventually being turned over to the community. When? Probably not till after the vesting contract is over, or hopefully until they feel confident that it can be taken over and run by the community. But more and more, I think we're going to see this, whether it's, maybe some of it come about sooner because of, like you said, the layoffs, which may be why the events now are based around the community being more involved. But more and more, I think we're going to see stuff that the foundation used to do that they're just not going to do anymore, because that, I believe, is what the ultimate goal is, for the community to start making these decisions and taking things over.
Yeah. Speaking of the
That's good.
recent
That
music festival,
sorry.
like the people that participated and built in the music festival from the community were limited to like True Band Room, for example. They were given like less than a month's notice to fill up I think it was a 6x6 estate, which is huge. That's really huge. So then they asked me to help decorate it a little bit with my trees, right? You know, I was like, well, I don't have time to do a full 6x6 build, so let's take what we currently have and let's add to it and make it pleasant feeling and simple. And I was like, I think we should have a big ass crazy light show with the VLM on Norris VLM, just like I do at Casa Rustan, you know. And but no, you're forced to use SDK7. There was the requirement by the foundation in this limited time was to use SDK7. I haven't touched SDK7 at all, and an unknower is still in the process of converting the VLM into SDK7. So like we couldn't do what we could have done if it was still an SDK6. Like I don't fully understand why the community was forced to use SDK7 for this short term music festival. And
I
then like
understand. Yeah,
the
I
other
understand why they did it. And the thing for me, for example, I was one of the artists in there, but that with a parcel of four, I guess, 32 by 32. And to me, the first limitation is that is small parcel. And in this small parcel, it depends on what you want to do. It can be very challenging because one of my build and so on, it was huge, and you in order to watch it like all um, from the same parcel, if you don't use the camera, it's going, or if you don't go and do the parking, the park tour, you're not going to see, you're going to miss parts. So the best sometimes place to take photos or to see my wheel in there was to go to Meta Tokyo and go clean Meta Tokyo and then do the photo in there. But then you were missing the experience of the music and the song and the video ongoing. Um but I like it that you can do a lot of, as I think, I don't remember if it was Rostan who said it. It's more stable, and being more stable, it helped it. It was quicker once you knew how to use it. You know,
right, yeah, that's the
there were
problem that I have is like the time to learn it was too short. So I think for this community music festival on such short notice, you should leave the community to do with what they know, not have to learn and then also build on top of that. And then also like the another question that I've always had with like all events that have ever happened on Decentraland is I do not understand why Decentraland completely breaks down after the event. Like right now Decentraland is super laggy and crashy and things are really strange, and that happens after every single event. I don't know what they do.
But
Do they
but
revert to
it
some
does
old version or something?
it does
uh,
work better now than it did during the event, though.
Does it? I feel
yeah,
like
Uh,
it's still bad.
mm,
I mean,
but
during
that
the event,
happens.
I was alone in a scene until I got naked. So as
Yeah,
just
I
being
don't
able to wear
understand
my
why that.
wearables,
I don't understand why that was happening. That makes no sense to me.
I
Well,
I don't understand why it happens at the festival. Can it like happen like a week before the festival,
Yeah,
please?
it's like they try something new like the day before and don't test it,
Yeah.
and then they're scrambling to fix it, and I don't.
oh
Yep.
no, they were testing because I was part, for example, I was invited to be one of the testers in there. So we were testing for all the weeks. We had a test running for with a part of their test that they did. They invited us, the artists in there, to go around to try to see how many people were able to, blah blah blah. But the thing is that more testers should be always on in these things. Is if you are doing a test run of a huge festival, that you try to get over 100 people in there, or I, you know, the ideal is that you do a testing with also that in mind. And that is challenging because get 100 testers, you know,
Yeah, but it's like we did
that's
it for
one.
the first music festival. We had hundreds of people on multiple realms for Dead Mouse, and it's I think the only thing that didn't work was my laptop at the time. I think it was pretty smooth
It
for
worked
most
better.
people, you know.
Hmm.
And like,
Oh,
so if that
great.
worked, why was this one worse? That's
Did
what
you
doesn't make sense to me.
like are you using the same laptop? I got a new laptop in June, and I feel like I did not have nearly as many complaints as everybody else during this music festival. Like I wasn't crashing.
Yeah, I wasn't crashing. My M1 is fine. Like I had a
I was,
pretty good experience overall.
yeah, I was not crashing. I was getting along. Like
But now, like I'm saying,
60%.
after the event, now I'm having like all these crazy issues of people
Well,
not loading.
they just pushed a update this week. I mean, it might be that, and they went on Discord and kind of tried to at least give people a heads up that that was going to happen. And a lot of like, what
Also,
is it, browser, like, so the marketplace has changed. I mean, I feel like they did try to reach out a few places. They came to CBD and put tried to leave a notice on the CBD Discord to let people know. So I don't know. That was the first time I was like, okay, that's nice. At least we know this is coming.
also is something that is also not only happening in Decentraland, but in any MMO lag stays, and then you have to update, to regenerate the system, like to get rid of that lag after any
Yeah,
event.
I always clear my site
And,
data for the big events.
yeah, and also that's something important to have in mind, that we have a lot of structures in the same area with a lot of people in there at the same time with their own avatars, with multiple things ongoing on. So that's why,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of the things that I'd always theorized was that the wearables were the problem, and that was definitely confirmed this time around, right? When everybody got naked and things seemed to work better. Because it seems like it would be taxing on a system for the system to communicate with an individual's wallet and back, and then place the wearable on the avatar, and then do that on 100 avatars. That seems like a lot of work.
It's interesting because there's a really good DAO proposal right now, and I know some people, they don't like to go to the DAO anymore, but there's really good stuff coming up in the DAO, and it's one that Punk Pink is proposing to reduce the hand category and then get rid of colliders to reduce triangles in world. And I kind of like did like some wildlife research into triangle limitations, and um kind of like did some math with like ferns. Okay, like ferns in the default scene have almost 300 triangles, and there's at least 1 to 2 ferns per scene. And then I went through and checked all these other ones, like the sweet pea plant is almost 500 triangles per plant, and then the green acacia tree that they have in the default scenes is like 1,200 triangles. And so I'm gonna try to find this really fast if I can. Because what they were saying is that the world might work better um if we didn't use colliders anymore, unless it was like in a place that needed a collider, which I was like, oh, I don't know if I don't think we should get rid of that, because then, like, then we need a committee to enforce all of that. But what I figured out is if there's like roughly I'm just gauging low, but 60% of Decentraland is still covered with default scenes. And if there's if you took out 1 fern, 1 sweet pea, 1 acacia tree from the default parcels, you could reduce triangles of all of Decentraland by 107 million triangles, just by that 1 fern, 1 sweet pea, 1 acacia tree. And then if you look at all those default scenes, also there's probably 5 to 7 colliders in each rock that you see in a default scene. So if an HP doesn't think that triangles are what's slowing it down, but if we're talking about wearables having colliders or having triangles, and like aggregate that across the entirety of the map, like if triangles would increase performance, we should look at scenes and how to optimize those, because we could yeah, we could make a lot of change happen there. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing to bring
Well,
up, but I don't know that clothes on avatars is
I
the.
kind of agree with HP on the triangle not being the biggest problem. I mean, the Cove was like 500,000 triangles, you know.
Triangles are not, but the land impact per se.
Like,
May I point out that HP doesn't even use Decentraland? So, like, how would he know?
what's cool about like what some of the devs are doing on Hypervisor, they're going like extreme on optimization. I think Decentraland is like really, really, really exceptional at how they require optimization. I don't think lowering the triangle counts on wearables and things is the right thing to do. I think we need to be able to raise them at some point. Like technology is going to get better, and like already like the Kid Called Beast build that I made on Hyperfy that works on my phone. Like I've been spending a lot of time optimizing it and stuff. Actually, like live streaming video that causes a lot of lag. So like part of the music festival is maybe too many videos being played too closely at the same time, possibly. Um, but it's cool what they're doing in Hyperfy and M3 is they've come up with ways. There's ways where like you can make one object and then instance it, and I don't know how to explain it perfectly, but basically you're using the same amount of triangles on two objects that you would on one by the way that you copy and paste it or something. And so they've been able to like put like on Kid Called Beast, for example, that there's like thousands of trees out there, but it's all based on like a few trees, a handful of trees. So the numbers are extremely low because of that.
I
But
thought, yeah, I thought that's why what Decentraland was using for their scene.
I would think so. I would think so, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
that they are instances. So that's why, in this case, it's not important at all the number of trees. Is the render,
Yeah.
is the landing part. That is the worrying thing, and that's also passing for WebGL. And WebGL, you cannot do anything if you're on Metaverse based on WebGL right now.
I've been able to test my builds with and without video playing, and it's a lot faster without video playing. So it's definitely a part of it.
So it's the
Yeah, and
streamers.
concentration, and the concentration, as you said, the concentration when you have in a same place an ongoing event that is a render live going on. Uh, not only in image, but also you are adding sound and moving images at the same time of other moving images that are rendered on live. So it's like a Russian doll in this case is what is generating. And you put a lot of avatars also in there with complicated outfits, then it's more render cost. And the increasing of the render cost is what makes all to go to shit.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there was this one day on Hyperfy. Actually, for those who have been to my island that has a yacht and it has like every freaking asset I own just like thrown in there carelessly, not worrying about optimization basically, and it was working really well for the longest time. And there's this spaceship above the yacht that when you teleport into it, it has like 7 of my video NFTs on display. And then one day, like months after it had been working for months, one day it was super laggy, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" And I contacted Ash, the founder of Hyperfy, and said, "Something's up with my world. It's laggy." And he popped in, and we spent like a good hour trying to pinpoint the cause of it, and it turned out to be the videos in the spaceship. And then he told me about a way to use a zone in Hyperfy that enabled the avatar to walk into this invisible cube that would turn on the videos one at a time individually, instead of like you load into the scene and all the videos are loading, even if you don't see it, because you couldn't see the videos from the water, basically, you know. So I learned how to do that. But at the same time, he also realized why it started lagging, and it was this update that he made, and so he reverted back to it because he was like, okay, that update is no good, so that coding was no good. So I imagine it's a combination of bad coding and too many videos in Decentraland causing a lot of issues.
Not only videos, but yes, the thing
Yeah,
is that
animations and sounds. Yeah, totally.
There are probably just so many videos on just empty parcels that are just no one's going to. That are just sitting there, just
Yeah, those basic OpenSea NFT frames that are in the basic Decentraland builder can cause a lot of problems, especially when people set up like hundreds of them on their one parcel.
there are so many buildings that
Yeah,
like not that I mean I guess I don't know, so
yes.
many for you it's subjective, but I've seen quite a few. You just
Yeah,
walk into
because
them and you're always like, wait, are they broken? Is it me? How? And then
right. And
50
because
minutes
and
later,
that was like the best thing you could do in Decentraland early 2021, right? Was to get a parcel and then throw your NFTs up there. You want to show it off. So everybody was doing that and they still exist. And that day that like Kasarustan broke down and you couldn't even load into the parcel was because a neighbor one was because a neighbor had a video that was like 8 gigabytes that it was trying to load, and the other was another parcel that had um, like it had like 20 NFT frames, and one of them was linked to an NFT that wasn't loading, and so Decentraland was fighting over like being able to load this NFT and loop. It was causing this unending loop that it couldn't load, and it wouldn't load Decentraland near that parcel basically, and then that was like Unknower and I had to go in there into the DCL help forums, and like we had to really battle to get to talk to the right person because we were being pushed away constantly until like they finally listened and heard our
no,
thoughts and then fixed it.
DCL help is always like their support staff is like so warm and welcoming and never just bad.
Did you clear your cache?
Yeah,
I forgot to restart. I should have did that.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, you gotta
Cheddar
clear your
knows
cache.
that one.
Yeah,
Cheddar's probably heard it many times,
it's
actually.
atrocious. And I've heard it said to people that like Lastrom will go in there and say something and then they'll be like, "Oh, go clear your cache." And I want to shoot myself in the head.
I'll
Is
like
like I
reply
haven't
with
seen Andy NFT. I haven't seen him around there for like over a
No,
year, I
yeah,
think. He's been
I don't know
gone,
what
huh?
happened to Andy. He was so lovely. He was great.
He was like the only person that I could get through to break the bouncer first, you know, like to get past the door, and then he would like hand me off to the right person to talk to. But I don't know what happened to him.
Remember,
He
guys,
was
we're gonna
too
save
helpful. He got
ourselves.
fired for being competent.
We're not gonna wait for anybody else to come save us. We're gonna save ourselves. And Jodor, you have been patiently up here in the speaker panel, so welcome. How are you today? Hopefully, we haven't totally birdwalked from the original topic when you came up, but glad to have you here.
Hi, Canesser. Hi, Sinful, Jar, Brand, Russ, and Cheddar, Argent, Existence. I see you. Bobby was here a few moments ago. He's disappeared. Hi, everyone. GM, and yeah, I'm pretty new to Decentraland, so and I got in on this space when I don't remember. I think it was Rostand. I was talking about how to get influencers in that is a problem Decentraland is having. So I am talking from someone who's new. So my lens is a little different from you all and your knowledge about the metaverse. So I am just thinking like maybe we should, if everybody else is focusing like every other I don't know, metaverse is focusing on getting influencers. You should maybe try another method and maybe go after, communities in the Web3 world that are actually curious about the metaverse. A lot of people do not know what the metaverse is, you know, and the influencers that do know what the metaverse is, they're just a really tiny percentage, like the people that are actually their followers. A lot more people don't know about it. So I'm just thinking maybe that's another route to take. And also, as a new person, my view about Decentraland, honestly, I know you all may be used to it, but for someone like me who's new to the scene, I find it really exciting. So, and I feel like I still have a whole lot to learn. So, like I said, for you guys, you've been in the field, so you may not really get it right now, but you've built something really fantastic. But you just need to let other people who don't know what it is to experience it as well. So, yeah, that's just all I wanted to say. Oh, yeah, and sorry, I wanted to ask about I'm really excited about the Central and Wellness Week coming up in January because I'm a wellness coach and I'm trying to put together. I already have a team that wants to like drop in a proposal, but the links there for to access because there's a developer on my team, and the links there to access like the Decentraland files is not opening. So I needed to mention that and maybe get tips and tricks from you all who are OGs about what to actually include in my proposal so that it actually goes through. So yeah, thank you for listening to me. And I'm Joe from Nigeria.
I am so happy that you came up and talked. I can find you. It might be the same link. Maybe it's just not working, but I know that they're putting out the open call. I think just that is awesome. What your background? I think just be yourself. Put that out there. There's a lot of people here. If you run into any roadblocks for building or developing, because you might be a great builder, but building in Decentraland has some like features that are fun to work with. So yeah, I will send you that link. And I guess, yeah, Jared, you were gonna say something. Otherwise, I can come back.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, like, on the conversation of onboarding, I just feel like because she was like kind of dismissive, like, I know you guys are here and I'm new, so I'm still figuring things out. Like, I just feel like when it comes to the conversation we're having, like, the new person who just got here and is excited, which is super rejuvenating to hear. Like, your opinion, I think, is way more like valuable on the conversation of like how to engage people. Like, you just got here, like, what excited you? What made you want to check it out?
Yeah,
Like
seriously. We all crowd her
what
like
you think
vultures. We're
is,
like,
yeah.
get her.
Tell us more about how awesome we are, or other people are, and
We're
then
like we're
what
like the
made you
old
think
ladies
that?
at church sending you casseroles and trying to be normal. But don't worry, guys, I already sent her wearables, so
Yeah, be cool, guys. Be cool.
I
yes.
want to say how you said Jill, correct? Is that
Yes, I'm
Jill?
Joe. Yes.
My real name is Alan. It's a pleasure to speak to you. Um, she was onboarded during one of High CC and Make's uh, Metaverse Mondays. I recall.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome. Yeah, I think I remember
And
that.
that makes sense. They're both like really lovely and fun people that would definitely like put a good sales pitch
and
on it.
Joe and I ran around for a little bit. I showed her a few things and set her off on her own. So glad to see you still here. I'm glad you're still so excited about it. And
Are
also,
you part of the CBD Discord? Because that'd be like a good place to get answers for your questions about how to fix whatever isn't working for you. And I know like Bay was asking about getting in touch with people who are interested in it in there. So,
yeah,
and she's
there's
like,
a
I don't know if she's
form.
producing this or not, but
There's a form we can get it to you to fill out for participating. And I want to shout out Red. And also earlier, I pinned up to the top two things. One is the Hyperfy Beast party on Monday. And again, check out the world regardless because it's pretty cool. And then also something that I was excited about is on December 9th, the Creative Owls have an event coming up. And a freaking still living legend, in my opinion, someone who will never be copied. Weird Al Yankovic is one of the guest speakers, along with Zach Braff from Scrubs, another great TV show. So, some things to check out there. Thank you.
I know so many people that like there are like just two types. I feel like there are just some secret society of just super passionate Weird Al fans that I've like stumbled into in my life. Like they are diehards. Like they will go to
I'm
war
He's
for
a
Weird
I'm
Al.
cool
not
dude.
diehard, but his movie UHF, and there's a new movie out too kind of a mockumentary. Well, it's supposedly his true biography movie where Harry Potter plays Weird Al, and it is so good. It really is a great movie, and so funny. But there's nobody else like him. And I'm not a diehard fan, but I do enjoy some of his songs. And he's
Well, and I just
unique,
challenge
one
you
of
to
a
find
kind.
anyone with a shitty thing to say about Weird Al, which is pretty impressive considering he,
Yeah,
did make
I have a Weird Al story, but
you
it's not.
painted his naked butt.
No, I was at San Diego Comic Con with my wife. We were having lunch amongst a lot of people in like this seating area, and there were these two guys at the table next to us, and this lady in a suit, this like aggressive lady in the suit, comes storming up to the two people, and she's like, "You guys need to get up and leave right now. Weird Al's going to eat right here." And then, as soon as she finished that sentence, he walks up very casually, and he's like, "Oh, what's happening?" He's like, "No, no, no, no. You guys finish your food. It's okay. You finish your food. I can wait. What are you talking about?" And like and then he ended up like chatting with them for like 20 minutes. He was really down to
He's
earth
like,
and
I
really cool.
cannot possibly have someone tell the story about how Weird Al had them demanded out of their seat.
Bruce Dillon has the best celebrity stories. He's like, yeah, that one time that I was just, over.
Yeah.
He's got such good ones.
I've met a lot, and I don't remember a lot of them. It takes someone bringing up Weird Al for it to pop into my head.
That's like such a flex. He's like, oh yeah, like so many. I just forget them.
No, I'm being honest though. I have a lot, and I just don't remember a lot. Most of them.
I about ran into Michael Keaton as I was coming out of a bathroom as he was going in.
We have the same birthday. And
Sweet.
I'm like, I'm 1 degree of separation away from him. I should have met him by now. He went to my gallery. He saw my work and went to my gallery, but I wasn't there.
I almost yelled at Robin Williams once because I
That's
thought he
awesome.
was the maintenance guy in Alaska, and they were up there to film the movie called The Big White. And because in Alaska, you can go film in the summer and it's snowy. And Woody Harrelson bought like the entire town shots at like the Red Onion Saloon, and he's just wasted. But yeah, I was like gonna yell Ted, and then I was like, oh, is that Ted or not? Like he's walking kind of funny because Robin Williams kind of has this like strut, and I was like, nope, that is not Ted. That is, holy shit, that is Robin Williams. And so luckily I just went back to my hole and just did my little day job instead. But I do want to thank you, Joe. I sent you a link. Hopefully that link works for wellness. I think I have all the things, all the opinions, all the feels about this one, and I just have to I'm hoping that a lot of people come out with really good ideas. I did make a new channel in the CBD Discord because the last one really kind of was nice to have a place to converse about things like that. So I don't know, maybe that's just something that we'll put in CBD. If you have questions relating to like each monthly thread, that might be a good way to consolidate that information.
I'm gonna state some things of my own before we're done here.
Good. It's probably better that you state them than me. I think I should just be like, just chill. I just like, yeah, peace.
So, Joe, just if you haven't received kind of a link to the Discord, if you click on my account and then in the bio, you'll see my link tree. The Discord setting is set to that server, so you can join in that way. If not, you can always message me and I'll send you a link that way or your invite that way. And just wanted to reset the room real quick. Red, good to see you. DJ Valeria, very, very nice to see you. And I see some new faces down at the listeners. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I'll pass it back to Kanessa.
Oops, sorry. I was typing a message to Joe. So, Joe, I'm just inviting. I'll grab the invite link to the CBD Discord. Bay Backner is amazing, and she's the one kind of putting the all call out for the wellness, and probably each build after that every month is going to have a theme. Yeah, so I will, between conversations here, I'll make sure that you get that. One existence, and then make.
Oh no, I'll save mine for later. Let Make go.
Well, thank you, One Existence. Good to catch you. Ruston, Red, my fam, my DCL family. Thank you again, Sinful, for the the Make a Music Festival. That was about the most fun I've had in Decentraland. Congratulations to Little Brother Biometa on your new wearable drop. It's super badass and super stoked. A couple things. One, I got a quick celeb story, as I have also met a lot of celebs. I had my son in New York in full traffic, and I had to go to the doctor, with him. And I'm stressed out, dad, like trying to make it happen. Um, and this guy's like, I'm trying to hail a cab. I got the baby like slung around my arm, and I'm like fighting with just trying to get in. Some guy's like, hold on. I got, I'll help you. And I'm like, about to say, get the F away from, you know what I mean? And I turn around and it's David Bowie. I'm like, you could just have him. Anyway, that was that. I just wanted to check in also. It was funny. Like, nah, you could have my kid. So I wanted to let, especially the Beast know, but all of the community, especially thank you to Existence, Rusukistan, Kanessa, Sinful, and others for helping me collect at least the base data, especially Existence, to turn in to try and bring linked wearables from A Kid Called Beast into Decentraland. We know it's going to be a process. We have a pretty good SES out. I feel we've gotten full approval from A Kid Called Beast. They have filled out everything necessary. I'm sure there are roadblocks ahead. I'm so grateful to those who have put as much effort in so far to make this a reality. The goal is not to take any money from the DAO, any money from A Kid Called Beast. Rustan has graciously uh, suggested he's going to help teach a class to some of the beasts, so we're really specific on the deliverables. We still might need some help. It's an interesting topic, and I've heard Brandon, you're very helpful, and maybe a few others, and I think Existence could elaborate more on that because it's kind of a two-part thing, right? There is the documents and the information you need from Decentraland to Decentraland, and I believe, again, thanks to the team, we have that ready. The second step, and maybe it's questionable, I've talked to a few different groups, and there are, I wouldn't say gray information, like from some people and builders, I have been told once we have this, it's not going to be a coding side and we don't need that side based on the uploader. And then I have heard differently. I would love to, if anybody has more information on how to take the next steps, we're really hopeful that through this process, we'll be able to welcome in all of the beasts if they want to come in um, with with a pretty great plan. So if anybody on the side has more information about linking the wearables to a 10,000 collection, the goal is going to be we are going to do the 48 base beast heads, the balaclavas. We're going to do them in RGB so they'll represent more the availability and more able for the beast to customize. We are going to leave out the 101s and we are going to attach those 10,000. All of that information is currently on chain and should, you know, if there needs to be a codex tool or something, we'd love to get in touch. And if anybody has any suggestions on how to now take the next steps with our official information, so we're ready to go. I'm so excited and hopeful that we can welcome so many new people in. Y'all do such a good job. Um, I'm just really excited for this team of people who are so caring and loving on our side, and a community that's ready to explore. So fingers crossed we can make it work. If anybody has any extra suggestions, please let me know before we take the next steps. Fingers crossed we're welcoming in a bunch of new people. Other than that, Joe, it was so fun to have you come and then find your way. Existence did such a great job. I don't know if you got all the wearables from everybody, but there's a big group of people in here with special things. So if you need anything, you know you got us, but you're in the right place. Thank you so much for your time and all your efforts, family. I truly can't thank y'all enough.
So make early like into what you were saying, you had mentioned the music festival. You should ask Canessa how long, like for days straight, I was just like giggling at that name. Like I can't wait till Make sees it.
Dude,
I'm glad, I'm happy you
that
liked
might
it.
have been that's like top 5 days for me in the metaverse. Like, first of all, you are just such a legend. The way you articulated and got everybody together, kept everybody pretty much on a banger schedule. Um, what we do, 9 hours of talent, a lot of new people into Decentraland, a lot of people watching, and it's like these are the things that are going to make the difference, you know. And Mew, I can't. It was literally about the most fun I have had in Decentraland. The music was great. It worked great. Everybody had a good time. We're just growing. You know, it's like we're at a new growth period. I believe that so sincerely, and I hope all our efforts on what we're doing now just keep paying dividends. But Mew, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Hey, it was fun. It was fun. And yeah, okay, so I'm happy that someone else also feels like we're in a pivotal moment in all this. We don't know where it's going, but it's pivotal somehow, some way.
Well, change is not easy and change can be painful, but I think that like just hearing Joe come up, I mean, really, we are kind of a bunch of salty people in a room, like an echo chamber, like voicing our grievances. And to be honest, I think we need voices like Joe to come in and be like, "Are you kidding? I'm excited. I can buy my own land. I can host my own stuff." I mean, we get to choose if we're going to focus on the bad, the things that don't work, or are we going to be like, "Hey, I'm in a game. I know how to use Blender. I never thought that would be possible." Like I'm talking web3 to people that don't even understand what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it can crash, it can break, but I've never had this much influence or power or control over like a video game and or social platform in my life. So I think we need to I think it's healthy to have a reality check every once in a while that we are breaking barriers, breaking ground. Maybe not
Yeah.
as fast as we want, but we are.
I'm excited to see what Joe and I believe you're working with Punk Pink is gonna help you create your first wearable for free.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you guys put together. He helped me. He and I did a creation once already as well. I think I sent it to you. The dress, the Ocean's Moonlight dress, um, was Punk Pink did that.
That's amazing. I am thinking actually wanted an outfit as well. But then again, since I want to do something for the wellness week, I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I'm thinking of something that's related to health that I can link to maybe an in real life thing going on or in real life gadgets that's going on. But that's why I need my developer is trying to like access the documentation. That's why because she needs to understand if it's something she can accomplish within the time frame that has been given. So we don't know how it's going to turn out yet, but we're just excited to see and we're just pushing our limits and just learning new things. So it's really great to be among you guys here. Thanks.
And the wellness project is right out of your alley, also your, which is important. In, as you said, it is important to not only realize that we have this platform that all of we are creating together, but how many of you thought that you will be actually kind of way social gaming industry, doing things in 3D, with video, and with, you know, stuff related to that?
Okay, I'm going to jump in here on this since we're back on the subject, and I'm going to do my best not to. I don't want to. Yeah, especially with Joe up here. Um, However, like the music festival, there does not seem to be a direct, other than Bay, who, and I'm not knocking Bay one bit because she does so much. I, for one, I don't want to direct everybody to her because she's got to be busy. But I feel, again, and I've already asked about a direct line of contact, especially for those who don't submit to the initial process of how they can become involved. There's not a direct contact. Um, and initially, if you read the description put out by the foundation as far as the month of January being wellness, it does not state anything about mind, basically physical health, etc. Now, the application itself does include the mind, and which just it does need to be done very carefully as far as, especially as far as that's concerned. Um, I have some particular topics that I would love to see, but I don't think those are going to happen. Um, but I'm just it's such a fragile topic. I'm a bit hesitant and nervous, but again, I think we need a direct, we need a direct contact and someplace to go, and that doesn't seem to be happening.
Like mental,
Other than this form that you fill out.
like mental illness, you mean, for example?
Yeah, well, yes, I'm talking when I'm talking about the wellness, there's the health, the physical part, but I'm my primary concern is about the mind, the mental health, and I think that
Fully.
needs to be a big part of it somehow. But again, it's something that's got to be carefully done.
So
Yes,
I
Joe.
did. I'll
Oh,
just jump in and say that I did speak directly with Bay and spoke quite a bit about my feedback because I come from a profession in the in the mental health field, and just basically, I have hesitations because I think it is one thing to ask builders to create something for a music fest. It is a whole different thing to ask builders to create content for wellness because if you don't work in that field, your frame of mind might be, as I keep saying, yoga. Maybe there's a book reading in like a quiet meditative garden, and we talk about screen time and getting away and into nature. And that's wellness. Yes, that's probably how most people, they might look at that, or maybe some healthy, nutritious recipes as we go into the new year. But unfortunately, for people struggling with mental illness, family members with mental illness, people that have lost people to, their own hand, self harm, like we just don't frame it that way. And I just feel like this month out of the entire year has the ability to, it is just different. It is different than fashion month. It's different than education, travel, AI, architecture. This is the one month that could do a lot of good if it's handled right, and it could do a lot of bad if it's handled wrong. And so I have communicated that in depth with Bay. Her and I, we had a really good conversation. I said, I honestly think that because I'm so passionate, like I realize I probably just have a lot of maybe more healing to do around it than I realize. And I'm probably just not going to be very vocal or create anything because, I just, that's just where I'm at. She's going to pass that on to the foundation, and hopefully just so that everything is like done as best as possible. Hopefully there's guidance, from the foundation. Cause here, so like I said, I don't want 3D builders that are really good at 3D building to tell me about mental health content any more in depth than yogas, quiet book readings, retreats. Like that needs to be done from the suicide prevention hotline. That needs to be done from, NIM. That
Yeah.
needs to be the Mayo Clinic. That needs to be professionals. And I'm telling us that because I've been on both sides of the coin, and I've paid the price for extending myself too far into helping people when I wasn't ready to deal with the consequences. And so I just like, they need to be collaborating with the professionals. They need or let's just keep it surface level. Let's just keep it quiet, meditative, stretches, yoga. Let's do that. But we have to like have some guidance. Are we surface level, or are we deeper? Because if we're um yeah, I think just, we had a Twitter space a couple weeks ago that we talked for a long time. We got pretty in depth, and the fact that so many of us were ready to talk and open up to each other that deep, it tells me that is on our mind. When we think wellness, we're thinking of, yeah, without going off, like we have a mental health crisis. I don't know if anybody else knows how hard it is to get help, therapy. I mean, it
Mm.
is, we could do a lot of good here. And might I also plug that we have paid $60,000 to Metaverse Architects to create the Mind Easy mental health place. So I've left a comment on the Discord and pinged the creators. I haven't heard back from them. It's been a couple days. So I don't know if they're on that project or if they've moved on, but it would be awesome to have a DAO funded project be active in this. But that's just me.
Yeah, yeah. When I started in metaverses, I started because I was at college and I'm a student and part and founder of a student organization, non-profit organization of biology faculty. And one of the things that my goal was is to understand why um, the metaverse could be a good channel of communication for science and art. And I encountered during this research, but not only, because we were doing debates and organizing a lot of things with professional people like catedratics from universities and so, or professionals that are, like you said, on the field. And one of them being the Spanish Association of doctors, family doctors inside, is the organization that regulates all that is medicine or family medicine in my country. And they had this huge project related to mental health through metaverses, that it has two phases. One was to to teach and to prepare professionals for that are not exclusively, for example, a family doctor maybe is not ready to attend mental illness as a professional on mental illness is, as for example a neurology point of view also is very important, because we need to understand how these brain connections, what is going on inside our brain that happens, what it happens, and what are the also the environment, and how this environment is affecting. So ecology professionals talking on that is important. That sometimes we think that is just one discipline, what relates to mental illness or general wellness of the body and the mind. But it's a bunch of factors, and especially is related to ecosystem, environment, social, how we work at social, and how is our culture, and also how it works our brains. And not only our brains, but other parts of our body, like the stomach, or all the digestive system. That is also very important. Um, and I was learning also this, or reading more on chronobiology, these lates on mental illness and on general well-being. And it's super important also to understand routine and circadian, the cycle of day and night, but it's not because of the day per se or the night per se. How many sunlight we are getting and not, to improve our quality of life. For example, the latest thing of that points to that is more important to get sunlight that during the hours of light, and then of course night light, that is artificial. But the main problem is that our sunlight is like not we are not during the day, or buildings or work stations, or things are not prepared to have but natural life inside. So we work all day with artificial light all the time. And in the night, we still working with this artificial light. So the observations in that matter also suggest that it's taking an important role in how we sleep and the quality of our sleeping, and the routines that we have, and how that affects to stress, and how that affects to also develop other kind of issues, like for example dementia, Alzheimer, and other ones. So yeah, it's not only on the mm, the meditation thing or so on, that it should approach this month or this event. It should be like more consistent on a scientific level, and not only professional level, from the professionals getting inside well and talking about this. I would love to have that, because for the other thing, yeah, well, you always have a time also as well, or you can do it other way. As you said, let's keep it then ligero, light, So at least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that yeah, that makes sense. That um, I mean, there's a reason why professionals, if you're a psychiatrist, you are able to help people, but you also have the training to know when to help yourself and to, I mean, it takes a special person to be able to compartmentalize when you're listening to, if you're a therapist talking with your patient, to be able to leave that at work at the end of the day. And so, yeah, just like I said, it's probably just more sensitive to me, but it also, it's like I just don't want to see our 3D modeler developer friends suddenly become, entrenched in things that are, just, I mean, it takes somebody years not just to learn the content, but how to protect themselves. When exist, you had your hand up.
I didn't fully remember what I was going to say, but one thing you were talking about the mental health crisis, and it extends beyond just not being able to get help. Um, there's people out there that need the help, but they just, for whatever reason, they don't or won't seek it. Or sometimes, like myself, you hit a roadblock or two, and you may just give up. Um, and I want to say this. I want to say this because I have a friend who's has schizophrenia. He's also out on the street most of the time because he can't be in one place. Whatever For whatever reason, things will be going really well, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's off. But he has a drug problem as well. Um, I'm in touch with one of his family members. Most of his family don't won't deal with him anymore. Um, and we finally had him. I see. This is Everybody sees the drug issue first. I've always been of the mind that he has, and regardless of how the mental came about, whether it was because of the drugs or if the drugs or the mental led to the drugs, I saw the mental as the big picture, the big issue. But we at least finally had him. He agreed to go to rehab, and at the time he couldn't. They wouldn't take him because his he had to get his insurance transferred um, to where he was at the time, and that was going to take 30 days. He stuck out. He was held up for the entire 30 days, and insurance got transferred. His aunt was ready to take him in, and they said, "Well, is he on drugs now?" No. Well, we can't take him. And that's where I have to leave off on that one.
Oh, that's so hard. I um, that's hard, especially because addictions usually are not only one thing, and addictions and especially certain type of drugs change a lot the morphology on and of our brain and how our brain interprets signals and so on. I had in one of these, while I was doing this project, I had the pleasure to organize a debate with a drug specialist, an ex drug the family of a family from victims, well, that of people that has addictions, and also scientists on the matter. And not only you hear the social problem and how much lack you have to have in order to regain confidence or help, because this is this case war, a war, you know, and the thing. But also the how at a neurological level this changes. So there's not too much that you can do if you don't know that information. And the problem is that major part of us does not know that information. And we have, if she put the scans that they did, the brain scans that they did, and some pictures in there with the different types of neuroconnections and how they were developing over the years and time of different types of addiction. And it was wow, the difference between a healthy brain and a brain on drugs. These drugs can be legal drugs also as well. Are wow, are wow. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Argent, you're like, I mean, the most acceptable drug to deal with trauma and unprocessed any kind of thing that you need to go to therapy is just alcohol. Just like, cocaine, heroin, everything else, it's illegal, it's bad. But I mean, alcohol is that's celebrated, mimosa time yet? Like how many different, if you go to Etsy, how many t-shirts can you get with like wine and like I don't know, mama wine culture. It's celebrated. It's actually just it's atrocious to see, like in my state, cannabis is legal, but then they're like crimping down on it. Well, I don't know of anybody that's overdosed on marijuana, but I know plenty of people who have died of alcohol poisoning. So I think you're right, and I think we could just just absolutely go into it. Like I'm passionate about it because I've seen my own habits and tried to live a healthier life. But I think that the fact of the matter is that it is we collectively have been through a traumatic experience that had kind of had a start date, like COVID didn't really have an end date. So we have this like collective unprocessed trauma, and then just compound that with social media use, increasing wages, everything. Like it I don't know, it's a big topic. And as far as Decentraland is concerned, like I just think that we can't put this in the lap of people without really being thoughtful that we're not all coming at it from the same scope. If whoever was coming up with the themes for Decentraland, the month, I'm sure it's wellness, it's New Year's, everybody makes a New Year's commitment. I'm gonna exercise more, I'm gonna eat less junk food, but the reality is that a lot of us struggle with mental health, um, and that wellness just means something so much different. Like if I woke up and I uh got my coffee and a meal, that might be like, god damn, I'm rocking my world today. And other people, it might be like, well, wellness means I went to the gym 5 days out of the week, and I'm doing this, and I'm fiscally responsible and different. I mean, I think that it's a good eye-opening experience, because in the metaverse we do have an opportunity to just move mountains here as far as mental health goes. But it just comes down to that this unfortunately is one that we can't do on our own unless you're licensed medical healthcare providers. If you're um, a therapist with a license to practice psychology, psychiatry. But if you're not, don't I learned that the hard way. Don't try to save the world. You the price is very high.
Yeah.
I want to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Argent.
Well, that I was going to reinforce what Canessa said and wanted to add something that I was forgetting that is important, but it just ran out of my brain. So go please, existent.
Thanks. Yeah, I had that happen too. Um, I want I want to tell this quick story too. I love telling this one. So when I got my beginnings here in Decentraland, it was doing wearable Wednesdays with Biometa, who's down there, and we were interviewing artists who had created wearables. We had a great turnout. I think it was, yes, it was. I think it was my very first day doing it. Um, Goldilocks was there, Odd Job, so many people. Um, and I had some questions, and Odd Job got probably the toughest one, I think. Um, I said, "So Sylvia Plath has joined us this evening. She's in the room with us. What would you like to, what would you say or ask her?" For those of you that don't know who Sylvia Plath is, she is a poet who um, had a big case of mental illness, depression, and his answer was amazing, and it kind of relates to all this. He said, "I think I would invite her into Decentraland with me, and maybe that could have made a difference for those that are introverted, depressed, don't get out to socialize." So I believe, I do believe the metaverse can have some positives in this manner, but again, yes, needs to be professionally done. But I loved that answer.
When again, when I was on doing this, I was able to talk with some uh, professionals and saw that they were really invested into the metaverse as this channel for to achieve, especially if you are shy, wellness and improvement on your life. And there's a lot of things that if you are like it insult, if you are surrounded with the cool people that is going to be also reinforcing certain behaviors that are healthy, you have more chances, as in real life, to do the same. An opposite. Uh, I had this catedratic from Peruvian university that he was loving to say always that in metaverse you will find the most amazing people, the most intellectual people, intelligent, etc., but also the most uh, crazy, but crazy in the sense of mental health issues, not as an insult, because he was the first one having a mental issue as well. So that's something to consider when we are talking on the face of the metaverse and why, for example, reinforcing to the exterior that the metaverse is a place where you um, get drunk, party only, and that you can get drunk but not be alcoholic, that you can get party and love party but on a healthy way, that you can do gambling, but gambling that is uh, also sustainable, that is not going to be a social lacra or have the because one of the worst addictions, not is a drug, but gambling, for example, is the emotion of gambling impacts in a region of the brain that is the one in charge of the rewards. So that's why gambling is so much addicted. Addiction, so much people fall into gambling, and why, for example, there's a concern with these kids that are growing up in this generation where gambling is more um, introduce it. Let's say introduce it. Gambling has always been there, but introduce it in a level that is unhealthy, and that will promote patterns at not only short term but long term, that conduct to us to this quick rewards issue in our brain that will chain us also to the machine of spending a lot of money and even resources that we don't have in order to feel that emotion in the brain. So yeah.
I think that you are very correct about the gambling thing. And it's something that I'm seeing amongst the young people in my family too, with the opening up of sports gambling online here in the United States. And with the like the normalization of the proliferation of like what do you call it? What's it? Fantasy, like fantasy teams and the accessibility of gambling to young people. I think that it's severely understated. Um I have a question. What do you guys see as like as far as Decentraland goes, this open call for mindful, right, or experiences that are tailored to wellness. What kind of experiences would you guys like to see? Like if there's a wellness month in Decentraland, right? What would that mean for you guys?
On the mental side, I would like to see at least like some sort of a support or at least information, if no speakers, at the minimum, I guess. Because again, as Canessa said, if we don't have the professionals doing it, um, I'm sure there's at least some professional documentation that could be retrieved and at least have information out there. And support would be through people that are either going through whatever it is or have some a commonality, um, and just allows for people to talk about it with no official advice. That's, I guess, as far as the mental, that's what I would kind of at least like to see a little bit of.
For example, myself that I am going to present, the what I wanted is to reproduce a little bit what I did already at the beginning of my ways in the metaverse, and that I started also to do a little bit with El Cafecito this year. That is coming from also not only an artistic background, but also a scientist background, is how you can make the sometimes science or that documentation up, not only available to the people, but on a way that is understood by the people in general. And not only that, but you can have the access to, well, if this happens, where I have to go to look at. Don't Google it. If you have to Google it, then go to Google Education instead. That some stories, sometimes tips are as simple as that. Or go to the correct sources of information, and that is not what major people think. We are quickly to, especially now, go and ask ChatGPT about it, but we are forgetting that ChatGPT is learning first and is lying also too, because when ChatGPT does not sometimes know the information or reach the information, maybe invents the information.
And Make, you've got your hand up.
Sorry, button mashing. Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about this, and we talked about it, and all of us have varying opinions that because we all have situations and we all are affected by this stuff, right? And I get where Canessa's coming from. I think it's super important. Uh, I've been. Here's another one, debatable. Um, but maybe this is a different call to action. Mm, the way I look at this, I think like there are two parts, right? Part A is people who just need to talk to other people about shit going on, right? So there could be almost something like not a 12-step program, but a place where people could talk about issues. That's a doable thing, but I don't, I think it does need some sensitivity training or something. Having said that, I think the call to action is probably like trying to get in touch with the suicide prevention, teams, or Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous, and offer a place, and basically we could help train them, or share some space with them to welcome them into an ever-changing world. I mean, ultimately, we all have a lot of our on our plates. I know how passionate um, we are about our causes and things, but I think that's got to just be put on the docket, and somebody's got to press the go button, because I think Kness is ultimately right. Um, if people really need help and they are at their last string, you do need to be qualified to deal with it emotionally. The aftermath tax of situations, and I don't like to say it, but a lot of people call suicide selfish because of the damage they leave behind to people. But hard to really say the truth of that matter, but it is damage, and even helping somebody, you do need to have a base level of grief reality tools. So having said that, I know we all have a lot on our plates, but maybe there is a way to propose that it wouldn't be that challenging. And I know, like Alcoholics Anonymous, they've always been open to gathering people to talk. So that might be another plan. Um, yeah, and then here for the ride, fam. But I just wanted to throw my sense in. Also, hi, CC, my meta bestie.
Thank you so much, Meg. You had me thinking about something with like maybe thinking about some partnerships that I don't know if anybody knows of, or if Foundation has announced any partnerships with any organizations for Wellness Month that are willing to come into Decentraland and provide that professional aspect, where they could perhaps team up with the 3D modelers and the creative community, so that the creative community can maybe help them build these spaces, but that the professionals and the people that are in the organizations and that have the experience to tackle wellness issues are sort of present in the space. I don't know if maybe the open call, I saw it as something a little bit more superficial, right? Where we kind of get together in a fun and upbeat environment to celebrate maybe wellness or to bring awareness to wellness. But it seems like maybe there's a perception that we're gonna get really deep into the subject, like we're gonna have like circle time.
Well, I think it's the scope that you're viewing it through, because I think you're right. I think people, maybe that came up with that idea are thinking a very fun fun way to
Right, a
look
very
at wellness.
lighthearted side. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine if that's what it's going to be, but I just think that this topic is so heavy, and it's just naive. Absolutely, I'm sorry, but absolutely naive to approach it with that view
With a
when
wag me vibe,
when
the toxic
well, when
positivity.
when it's no secret that there's a mental health crisis across the United States and the world, to I'm but I'm, like I said, I'm a
Yes.
professional in the field, so I guess maybe I'm assuming everybody knows that there's a crisis. Like, I mean, working at a middle school and high school for 10 years, I'm careful that I don't go into details, because I understand, yeah, there's a lot of crazy crazy things that our minds do, and so I don't want to put that into anybody's minds, but yeah, it's just like
Then
we're in the metaverse.
let's call it something else then. Let's call it PE month, or what is it, the presidential things you had to do
I think
in
wellness is okay. I
elementary
think
school.
maybe we're going at the wellness subject through a mental health wellness focus here, where wellness, like we said before, can mean many other different things, physical wellness, mental wellness, spiritual wellness, right? It
The
doesn't
others are much
necessarily have to be
easier
like
to
mental health.
others are much easier to cover though.
I mean, I
But
think one,
if you're gonna
yeah,
do wellness, it includes mental wellness.
one sentence
Right.
in the
It can
description.
include it, but it doesn't have to like encompass, like, it doesn't have to be all about that.
Yeah, I think just one
Yeah.
sentence in the description could have, like, built in a little bit of, like, just frame it. It could have just framed it a little bit, because without that guidance, I'm going to interpret it of, like, oh my
Right.
gosh, this is mental
People run
health.
with
This
it.
is like
Yep.
suicide
From their own
prevention. This
perspective.
is like, big tackle. But somebody else who's a yoga instructor is going to they're going to frame it like, whoa, this is awesome. There's going to be finally some, we're going to get some physical body. Like,
Mindfulness.
the truth is, we all frame our perspective out of the shade of glasses that we're wearing. And I told that to Bay. I said, I'm sorry. Like, my reaction to this shows that I still have some healing to do. So I'm not going to spearhead anything. I'm just going to take a step back and maybe just, like, process that my reaction of being so passionate around this comes, it's not accidental. It is coming from, like, I worked in the trenches. I have gotten more suicide plans from students, from, kids that are 15, 16, 17 years old, than I want to share. I mean, the truth is that some of us, it's just, we're just coming at it from a different perspective. So
Well,
I think I'm just gonna step back. Like, I'm not gonna.
I think I
Yeah.
see what you're saying, Cheddar. While yes, the topic at hand is mindful, but that's like, to me that's the biggest part of it, or the most um sensitive. Because yes, it would be great to also see something out there for how to make um healthy meals at a very reasonable price, because buying organic and buying the best foods can be pricey sometimes. So yeah, that would be cool to see too. But yes, mine and Canessa's focus is mostly on the wellness. So I do get that, and but that could be something on the physical aspect of something to see. and then I think Joe, and then hi Cece.
Just for me, like a little quick, to me, maybe it's enough only 1 month. If we want to do this and we are committed to do this, maybe it should be like, something that it's going on during all the year, not only now.
Right. Maybe I think some people might be looking at it, or maybe I was looking at it from like we're all gonna go and party off the pounds with like Richard Simmons type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Where we're gonna be like, let's be healthy, right? And so yeah, I'm. It's eye opening to see how other people's perspective of the wellness month events and activities, what they would like to see, and I'm excited, I'm intrigued to see how the foundation has kind of thought about this, right? Like, is there going to be different aspects of wellness? Are there going to be any partnerships with any organizations? Is it going to be mainly stuff in the United States if there's any information provided, or is it going to be like a global, perspective on searching for or resources, right? As far as wellness goes, I'm
Well,
curious.
and well, again, if you go to the homepage and find the blog on the monthly event themes, and you read the one for January, it talks about yoga and healthy eating. It doesn't talk anything about mental.
Ah, gotcha.
Just so you know.
I think I did glance through that, and that's why that's the picture that I have in my head, right? Like everybody going to like a Richard Simmons class and like kind of partying off the pounds or something like that. Like um that's why I didn't think of it from like a mental health perspective. And I think maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe they were like, okay, this is way too sensitive for us as a metaverse platform to even tackle unless we bring on some partnerships with some serious organizations that have experience in the topic and they're willing to spend the time, come into the metaverse, learn how to use it
That's why I said
and
name it
build
something
experiences
different.
based
Then
on that.
that's why I say name it something different. But
Um, can I? Hi.
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh
Thank
yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so it got real deep real fast. I'm so sorry, y'all. So I just wanted to, I know I did bring it up, the wellness thing, and I know we all have our triggers and all of that. And this is a really sensitive topic, but I just wanted to, get a little technical and just clear the air. Now, the what was put out was the Decentraland Wellness Week. Now, I have to make it clear that health is completely different from wellness. Health is like a defined state. It involves the way you eat, your nutrition, how you move your body, your exercise, the absence of either acute or chronic diseases and all of that. But literally, wellness is the active process through which we can actually become aware or make choices towards a more successful existence, if you get what I mean. So wellness is the process. So the
Wellness
what was put out for
in
wellness
science
week.
is, sorry to interrupt you there. Wellness in science, in biology, in medicine is not that. If that is one of the sides of wellness, but it's not anymore. As I said before, uh, chronobiology, neurology, ecology, all that contributes to wellness. And we have to point also to those that are the less known and less aware for the major part of the people. Because the other ones are more populated, um, are more well known already, even when the techniques maybe not, because you're a professional on that field. Um, for example, meditation is something that all medics right now or all doctors are also recommending because they find out that mindfulness helps into changing the rewiring of the uh, connections and how it works in certain cases. But you have to talk about those things as a complementary in what I understand, and put in more the accent in stuff the general public does not know, and is all these other things and disciplines that are immediately intricately related with the wellness process.
Thanks, Argent. But what I'm trying to say, like I was saying, health is the goal and wellness is the active process of achieving it. That's what I'm trying to say. So, what was put out actually covered just wellness. Now, I know we'd want more of health related things, and that's where I feel like a whole lot more of, professionals can come in if they do adjust that narrative. Because what
But
is there right now is
yeah,
holistic wellness.
but
Sorry,
Joe,
I'll just
that is
finish 1 second.
but sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, that's why I interrupt you, because what I am saying is not anymore related to health issue, but wellness per se, on a scientific point of view, and how that impact health later on. So doing that separation is not correct, and we have to change that, because until we don't change that, we will not address stuff that will help to wellness to do also a health to impact in our health. So that's why I was interrupted. Sorry for interrupting you. So I'm gonna shut up right now.
I think we're doing a great job at kicking off health and wellness month right here, right now. And I would like to see some panel discussions to talk about how we define wellness, how we define health, right? And what the differences are and the intersectionalities are between these concepts.
That's what I'm trying to work on. That's the proposal I'm trying to put forward. Because I really want to be a part of Wellness Week. So, oh my
Well, I'm
God.
excited. Good
Joe,
luck.
if you need any help, I am
Yes.
nominating Cheddar right now.
Don't yeah, and don't let this get you down, because wellness is kind of broad as it is, and I'm sure you're probably on the right track.
And we are all for it. Yes, the community is all for what you're talking about here.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be a learning experience for everyone because like I don't know if maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's like a whole military background thing. But like I have just as much trauma and like mental issues as everybody. I think I deal with it in a very different way than other people. And so it just I just view it from a completely different like spectrum, like a different colored glass than a lot of other people do. And so like what Canessa was talking about, like where the space is, um there should be like some sort of like sensitivity type of um I don't know, awareness, because some of us deal with life's trials and tribulations in different ways, and not all of us are equipped with the tools to be able to reach out or to help or to even guide or to give advice to or to even have conversations with others about their mental health. It's very probable that I'd probably make things worse. I'd be like, hey, just go smoke a joint, you'd be all right. And this person probably has fucking a heart murmur and they'll probably die for, so, like,
Just and to
I'm not the best kid.
just to clarify the broad scope of it, there's physical, there's mental, there's social, there's intellectual, spiritual, occupational, and environmental wellness. So
There's
wellness
also
is very broad.
financial too.
But
There's
okay, very good. Yeah, definitely.
Hi, Cece. Sorry, you've had your hand up for a long time and we've just been speaking. Please go ahead.
Hello, hello. No, I am enjoying the conversation and learning more about each of you in this space. So I'm really grateful. And I too work in the public health field. I'm a community health worker. And so when I saw the announcement go out for Wellness Week, I thought this would be a really great opportunity for us to meet our community where they're at. And as you can see, Canessa's at a different point with, wellness and health. And Cheddar and Joe and Arjun, you all have these amazing backgrounds with how you guys have been saying, using the words like, lens, the colored lenses. And I think this is an opportunity for the community to take hold of this concept and mold it into what we want to see, what the mirror that we want to reflect to the world. And so this conversation right here, I think Cheddar said it perfectly, is the perfect kickoff to Wellness Month, because it really should be a wellness lifestyle, not just like a period of time throughout the year. And so maybe there was a little bit of fumbling on the announcement and whatnot, but I do think that because we're all eternally positive and hopeful people, that's what I see. This is an opportunity for us to take this and really showcase it in the best way. So these conversations about what does wellness mean, panels about the different types of wellness that One Existence just mentioned, I mean, are so exciting. I was thinking about having my sister, who's she's a psychiatrist, she's a nurse practitioner, have her do a talk on what burnout means, and how we can deal with it in a Web3 sort of lifestyle. So just having like these opportunities and doing art installations like Arjun, I would love to like collaborate on sort of like these sort of Zen spaces. Like I love nature. Nature is how I deal with stress and trauma, and be able to like maybe do little pockets of peace or something like that. That's kind of cute, pockets of peace. But anyway, but like just talking and listening to all of you and seeing what you need from this experience is what is going to make this experience amazing. So I will rest my mic. Thank you for letting me chat.
That is wonderful. I totally agree. For me, like if I was to be given an opportunity, like say I had a school project and somebody came to me and said, "Hey, you have to on this day make a presentation about something that is related to wellness, and we're gonna give you 100 mana." Right. And then I would be like, I would like run off and connect that with basically like what wellness means to me. And like one of the things that I'm involved with that has a lot to do with wellness for some people, not for everybody, is cannabis. I have my own cannabis garden and I
You could
research a
change
lot.
somebody's life just by sharing a piece of your heart, Cheddar. Like hands down. That's what I'm hearing.
Right, right. Like each one of us has like something that is related to wellness that um we can together define that wellness, like you said, like what you said about the process, like I didn't even think about it that way. Right. And so if we can define that together, then we can go back into our own little cubbies and be like, what is it that I can have to give that connects to this, and then we can all just give to each other, and then each and every one of us will walk away with something that we received. Right, you give one thing, but you're going to receive 10 or 15 other things from other
I'm
people that you had
tingling
no
right
idea.
now because that's exact. Oh my God, I love it. You just put words to my heart. I love you.
Yeah, I think exactly the same. It's if we instead of do some insulated things, we can achieve to put a little bit of us and that. As we have different backgrounds, we can talk on a very complicated subject on a very interesting levels, from the suffering one to the different ambience. I would not say different wellness types. That I think is very popular to say, or it's trying to do a classification of something that is more complicated,
Right,
because
another buzzword.
the yeah, but all of them are connected because, of course, if you have, for example, if you don't have financial wellness, probably your health is going to be resilient. and probably not only your health, but also the wellness inside your family is going, because the ecosystem in your family is going to be altered, and also is going to be shown in the developing on other. If stress kicks on, stress is the door to open
It's
trauma.
like we call it the social determinants of health. Everything is connected. And I believe that's what you're referring to, Argent, how your financial situation relates to how you eat, or your family dynamic relates to, your mental health at work, and how it's all connected. And those are the social determinants of health.
And also from an historical point of view, you can see that. For example, in times in last century, in times where a recession was high, they were sold more red lips, red pink stick lips. I hope to say that in English correctly, uh, because in those times is where, well, women did not yet have enough, they were like not, mm, the society for women has changed in 50 years. 50 years, I hope it changed more, but in those times it was very complicated to be a woman, especially if you were a single woman. So how those transition times, where there's an economical crisis popped up, the sales on these lipsticks, the red ones especially, to attract more men that are financially well, it was something interesting to see. So
Yep, that makes total sense. And I am I'm learning a whole lot. Just I really would like to, now I have an idea, like I would like to go into Decentraland and see like panel discussions or presentations from different members of the community about these things that they know, because I didn't even think about like it's things that like you don't know that you know, right? Like I know about the social like factors, or like what you said, like the social determinants of like health, but it's not something that was that that had words attached to it. Like I know what you mean in my head, but I had never heard those words said before in a row, like in a sentence, or even used, right? I had never heard these things defined. And I think that a lot of times, like what does wonders for your wellness is knowing that you're not alone, knowing that you're not crazy, right? Knowing that like these social determinants of health, right? Like if you grew up in a single parent home with a parent that did not know how to cope with situations well, or the only way that they knew how to deal with you was to discipline you with violence or spank you, and you grow up to be an adult who then has difficulty at work dealing with rejection, dealing with speaking out, right? Things like that. And we can understand those things, then we can more relate to each other. And then we could stop asking the question, why are you like this? Or we could stop being so judgmental or pointy at each other and just